This program deals with themes of an adult nature and is intended for a mature audience.
The KTPF Community Talk Show is sponsored by Dragonos Castle, South Wales, one of the most haunted castles in Wales. For more information on ghostly and ghostly events, including Fright Nights, all-night investigations and hen parties, visit www.mosthauntedcastle.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
They've landed.
You're in the right place. Online, on the web, and on air. All over the world.
Talk radio.
You hear us, we hear you.
Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back again to another edition of the KTPF Community Talk Show, recommended by Paranormal magazine, the UK's leading online publication. My name is Suzanne, and we're here keeping...
I'll say that again. I'm Steve.
And we're here keeping the paranormal friendly on www.ktpf.co.uk here in Manchester in the UK. For those of you who are new to the KTPF, Steve and I started the site back in 2007, and our mission is to try and bring the paranormal world together. In 2012, we decided to have a chat room with a difference, inviting you to engage in live, friendly discussions with our special guests and various investigating groups from around the world. A relaxed show with no pressure, talking about various topics from cryptozoology to UFOs, whilst encouraging our guest and you to share information, advice, and most importantly, friendship. Remember, collaboration, not competition. So if you have any questions for our guest or for us, you can use the live interactive chat room where we will ask our guests for you, and you can call in and ask them yourself. Later we'll have the rundown of this month's or the latest events from news from paranormaleventsforyou.com, and we'd like to acknowledge all those in the chat room at the moment. Andy's there waiting to come on later on. He's got a new spot, so wait and see what happens there. And also to our listeners on radio replay on the YouTube channel. So
Yeah, we have listeners, but they're sitting on the sidelines at the moment.
yes, so don't forget
We can tell, you know. We can see the numbers.
Yes. On tonight's show, we have a young man called Peter Lythgoe, I think that's how you pronounce his surname, from the Zip Media, based in Weymouth, UK, who contacted us a while ago to ask if he could talk about his own experiences and sightings. And so if you have anything to share with us, then why don't you phone in and tell us? As we've always said, this is your show as well, so if you want to come on, if anyone wants to come on the show and talk about their experiences, what they've seen through the years, and share with us, that's what it's all about. So we'll be talking to Peter later on, around about 8:30. Okay, and as I say, later, after speaking to Peter and getting a roundup from Andy, before his new spot, I have a question for you, so hopefully we'll get some input coming from that in the chat room, to do with houses. That's all I'm going to say. So we'll see what happens there.
Intriguing.
Yes. So, but as always, as I say, don't forget, please get involved tonight. Ask some questions, and so. He's coming up with silly comments. He said he's spot, which he has cream for. So anyway, we've got a bit of a weird show tonight. We are talking about UFOs again, but it seems to be the norm at the moment, doesn't it? So there's quite a lot going on at the moment.
Tends to go in cycles.
Yeah.
At the moment, it's UFOs.
Yeah.
You never know. It could quite easily be big conspiracies, and then back to ghosts, and then all of a sudden something will crop up on the old cryptozoology field, and everything changes again.
Yeah, but as I say, stay tuned with us because I say after we spoke to Peter, we have got some interesting facts and stuff for you and a little bit of info for you. If
Andy said it's the age of the foes.
It's the age of the foes.
I was always told it was the age of Aquarius.
It probably is now, actually, or near enough getting there. I think we're coming out of Capricorn, so
we're out the 21st, I think.
Yeah, somewhere around there. So then it will be the age of Aquarius. So, but until then, over to you, Steve, with the observations.
Oh, wrong mouse.
Wrong mouse. That's what you get for having too many computers.
Got to be done. Got to be done. There we go. Let's mute these. Get it off. Hearing myself talk back in my own era. Okay. Unexplained, huge chunks of ice crashed through Chicago man's roof and land in his apartment, leaving his cat freaked out.
Weird weather.
Very weird weather. The ice dropped into John Connor's apartment around 12 p.m. on Tuesday, as his cat Oscar was inside. Connor said, I walked in and it looked like a bomb had exploded. Ice dropped into both his living room and his bathroom. His pal Brian McNally said a piece of ice plummeting from above, called a megacrimeter, could have been responsible. Another theory has been floated that the ice dropped because on a plane flying overhead.
Oh, right.
Large pieces of ice, as they say, slammed into the Chicago man's apartment and caused destruction on Tuesday, including a massive hole in his ceiling. The ice dropped into John Connor's apartment around 12, as I said. His cat Oscar, the poor little bugger, was well freaked out, reported WLS. If I would have been home, it would have killed me, said Connor's. He told the television station Connor's neighbour, Doris Patitz, heard noises, telling WLS, I heard this terrible blast. I thought it would be a house that had been blown up with gas or something. Connors himself told the television station he's shocked when coming into his apartment. I walked in and it looked like a bomb had exploded up in here, he said. He also said that he looked up and there was like sky and clouds and planes going by and all that. No ice dropped into Connor's living room. Another piece fell into his bedroom, which is separate by approximately 20 feet, the television station reported. Connors told the Chicago Sun-Times that on Thursday evening Oscar was pretty freaked out. The newspaper reported that Oscar was not injured, thankfully. Lakeview Patch reported that pal Brian McNally said a piece of ice plummeting from above, called a megacrimeter, could have been responsible. Let's move that out of the way. Meanwhile, the Alden Planetarium's Mark Hammergen told local news website an extraterrestrial origin has never been proven for any of these cases, ever. Another theory floated by pilot Scott Basil to Lakeview Patch is that ice dropped because on a plane flying overhead.
Yeah, Andy said it was probably down to the aeroplane sound, most likely.
Forget the sound. You seen the? You want to look at that and see the size of these pieces of ice. They're like that.
Really big, are they?
They're the size of footballs.
God.
That's English footballs.
On the subject of weather, we have got quite a bit of atmospherics going around the country at the moment.
All the guys up in Scotland, please wrap up warm tonight.
Yes, minus 15 and 13. But if you have any problems, as usual, with the live stream, please remember to refresh and we will do the same. And there was a bit of a glitch earlier. And I believe that there's people in the Wolverhampton area had an outage last night around about 10 o'clock. If you're listening in the Wolverhampton area this evening around about that time and we're still on, there could be another one, I'm afraid. Somebody's doing some work on the internet. So, as I say, if we do drop out,
that's nice of them.
And if we can't ever get back, don't worry, we will continue recording and it will be out there.
Yes, we will carry on regardless.
We'll be on there for radio replay.
Okay, here you go.
Next.
Lucy Hale had a vibe. Her mum's house is haunted.
Okay.
Pretty Little Liars star lives in Los Angeles, but visits her hometown of Tennessee as often as she can. She spent Christmas with her family there, but made a spooky discovery among all the festivities. Shortly before the 25-year-old was due to travel back, her stepsister sent her a photo of a man's shadow with what appeared to be the outline of a small dog. Christmas was awesome. I found out my parents' house is haunted, she explained to talk show host Seth Meyers. That's no relation to our Catherine. My stepdad and my mum and my stepsister live in this house. My stepsister was like, "You guys, I didn't want to send this photo, but I think you should know Mum and Dad's house is really haunted." I was like, "You're crazy," but I sort of had a feeling, I had a vibe. She turned around and saw the shadow and thought it was my stepdad, and it wasn't. Unfortunately, Seth was convinced and suggested Lucy's family might be trying to prank her. You think they're messing with me? Go with it. It's a much better story, she laughed. So she's seen shadows and things moving around. Well, what's wrong with that?
Acknowledge them.
We've been seeing them for the last 20 years.
Acknowledge them. They might go away.
Yes, we just go, "Hello, what are you doing here?"
Speaking to your mic more.
Speaking to my mic more.
Yes,
Okay.
you're turning away to look at your screen and not talking into your mic.
Yes, Mum.
Next.
See, I get bossed. It's not just you guys, it's me as well. Okay. Watch terrifying ghost pursue reversing car along deserted unlit road.
I got worried then when you said that word.
What, pursuing reverse?
Yeah, I thought he was going to say something else.
You thought I was going to say the ghost was going backwards?
No, I thought he was going to say he was doing something else.
Oh, right. The petrified passenger of the vehicle can be heard yelling, "Move the car backwards, faster, faster," as the dread creature gets closer and closer. This terrifying video shows the moment a ghost appears as on a deserted road and chases after a car. The petrifying 3-minute clip shows a car approach a mysterious white creature from behind it as it walks along the road between Blackburn and Belmont in Lancashire. The dread creature then turns and heads towards the vehicle as the passenger screams at the driver to reverse as fast as possible.
Are we talking Lancashire, England, or Lancashire, USA?
No, we're talking about Lancashire, England.
I didn't know there was a Belmont.
I didn't know either. But the horrified passenger can be heard yelling in Arabic, "Move the car backwards. Faster, faster." I really don't know why anybody would think this was a ghost. I really don't. Having watched the video, you know how women move when they got them long thin skirts on that come down to the ankle?
Yeah.
They can't really stride, can they?
No.
They're a bit penguin-like.
Yeah, okay.
That's what this thing is moving like.
Right, okay.
Like a bloody penguin.
Okay.
It's like he's got one of them long skirts, and because you can't stride in them because they're quite narrow, aren't they?
Yeah.
All the way to the bottom.
Yeah.
A bit pencil-like, but long.
Yeah.
So you haven't got the movement, and this is what this thing looks like it's doing.
Okay.
It's like, are you sure? It's a woman in a bloody long skirt, people. It's probably your missus trying to get back in the bloody car. Hey.
Oh, it is in the UK, no?
See.
Okay.
And like I said, I don't know why anybody would think this is a proper ghost. It looks so obvious that it's like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's got the long black hair as well over its face. A bit like the Ring. You know? And ever since the Ring, everybody seems to think they have to have the long black hair over the face. Right.
So what's next?
That one's the next. We're going Wiregrass, Bigfoot and skunk ape concerns. Wiregrass resident Michael Sims and Michael Clark believe they've seen Bigfoot in the distance on several occasions here in the western Wiregrass. Recent cattle killings have renewed efforts to find a large, powerful, hairy creature. One farmer outside of Coffee Springs reported on 2 separate occasions his cows being fatally cut. He says there's simply no explanation or answer to the mystery of what killed his livestock. 8 years ago, a California-based research team looked for evidence of Bigfoot or possibly a skunk ape around Coffee County's Aubrey community. The creature reported following a Chattahoochee and Pea rivers, as well as many tributaries. I don't know why, but I was of the opinion that Bigfoot was a veggie. So, why would they cut the cow? I mean, wouldn't they just batter it? I mean, the cow's not exactly gonna go, is it? I mean, by all accounts, the Bigfoot is large and powerful. So why would it need a cutting tool to cut? Unless they're saying it's got very long nails. But I don't know about the skunk ape. I think that's a similar kind of creature, but a little bit smaller. But there you go.
Okay. I'm glad you've got more, because you've got quite a bit of time left.
Oh, thank you. Well,
Andy says the moo chopper is back.
the new what? The moo chopper.
The moo chopper.
Oh yes. So saying that again, so talking about moose. I was looking on Facebook earlier.
Yeah.
You know the old 3-bird roast?
Oh yeah.
Somebody's gone one better.
Yeah.
They've gone a lamb, inside a pig, inside a cow.
Bloody hell.
That is one big. That is one massive joint, I tell you. It's enough to feed the 5,000, I think.
So.
And there we go.
Should you not mix white meat with red meat?
Who cares as long as it's cooked?
Yeah.
Right, here we go. Now here, save this link because there's about 45 different little stories on this.
Oh yeah.
They're all quite short, but this is your ghost stories, readers' chilling tales of mysterious figures and haunted houses. I'm going to read out 3 of the 45 as they are quite short. The first one, a special visitor. I gave birth to my daughter Ella just a few months after my grandma passed away. She would have loved to see my baby. She was excited for her birth. A few days later, when I got in bed, I saw a figure standing over Ella's cot. So naturally, I grabbed Ella and ran to my mum's room. Oh, excuse me, too much coke. She told me I was dreaming, but I'd only just gone to bed. The figure had the same stance as my grandma, and height was the same. It was cold. It wasn't cold like they say it goes cold when there's a ghost. My mum eventually let me in her room after I was banging on the door. I went into my room to see if she had gone, and in the corner was a shimmering like, like in the heat haze off the road. It was shimmering like that on a hot day, and she was gone and never came back. I think she just wanted to see my baby. That was from Rachel Wormersley in Blackburn. Okay, and then we go. Another one is the little girl in the doorway. My parents live in an Edwardian house. When I was 13 years old, I was grounded for misbehaving and sent to my room. We hadn't lived there very long, and my room was on the top floor, which was 3 floors up. As I was laid on my bed reading, the bedroom door suddenly unlatched and opened slowly. There on the stairs was a young girl dressed in old-fashioned clothes, wearing a black dress and a white pinafore. She was only there for a few seconds before disappearing. I froze for a few minutes before charging down the stairs to tell my parents what I had seen. I'm not sure they believed me until a few years later, when my grandma was sat alone in the dining room and said a young girl dressed in a black dress and white pinafore had stood in the doorway. She told her to come in, and she disappeared. I think at that point my parents realised it wasn't just a ruse to get out of my room. And that was from Dawn in Leeds.
Wow.
Okay, and the third one is the disappearing motorbike.
Okay.
We were on our way to a holiday in Great Yarmouth. I was driving eastbound on the A12 in Essex when a motorbike appeared behind me. There was he was trying to pass. I moved over slightly, but he wouldn't move. I did this for a mile or so, moving over to let him pass. He never did. When I checked my mirrors again, he was gone. Completely gone. He hadn't passed me or fell back. He had completely disappeared. My daughter thought I was seeing things as she never saw a thing, but he was definitely there for a while at least. That's from Nicola from Dartford. And Andy, that's your neck of the woods, the old Essex. Have you heard anything about this motorbike that appears to people?
Dartford's not in Essex.
Oh, she's from Dartford.
Oh, it was in Essex. Great Yarmouth.
It was on the A12 in Essex.
Oh, right.
When the motorbike appeared.
Perhaps he might know about
So if it's something that's known, as a paranormal investigator of some repute, he might know of this.
Some repute.
A12 is in central Essex, he says. Yes, but
yes, it's the road that leads to Southend.
Yeah, but is there a ghostly motorbike upon it? We ask ourselves. Well, that is me done, I'm afraid.
That's you done.
I am out.
Well, I've got one for you. I'll put this on.
And just a quick one there. Andy said, "Yes, I think I have indeed heard of this one."
Oh, wait.
No, that's A13.
Yeah, A13. Yeah, right. Brain box went.
You're on the wrong road, Susie.
I am on the wrong road. No wonder I'm not getting back there.
You got into Great Yarmouth instead.
Right. Here's one that I put on the Facebook page. And it's a place in Wales. Well, it's in Wales, basically. Let me just what's the name in it on Twitter. So bear with me, and I'll let you know all about it.
You're gonna Twitter it?
I'm just twittering it. Yes. Right. Okay. Let me just go to it. It says Randy ghost prowling Welsh highways to seduce drivers. Paranormal authors claim. Right, or rather, paranormal author claims a hijacking ghost. Sorry. Start again. Hitchhiking ghost.
Put your teeth in.
Could be seducing travellers on a busy road near Swansea. Perhaps the Viscount might know about this. A paranormal investigator has claimed Gavin Davis, the author of Ghost Sex, yes, you did hear me right, Ghost Sex, says he is investigating a spate of incidents where unsuspected drivers are seduced by hitchhiking ghouls. One of them involved a Pembrokeshire man who told Mr. Davis he was seduced by a figure disguised as a beautiful woman hitchhiking on the A40. I was approached by a man who did not want to be identified because it could expose him to ridicule, who told me he picked up a hitchhiker who turned out to be a ghost that seduced him, Mr. Davis said. Now, I'm aware that stuff like this is often intended as erotica, and people have fantasies about it.
Topping.
Pardon?
Topping.
Topping.
Do you not remember the film?
Topping, yes. I can't remember what the film's called. And at first I thought it was a wind-up call, but this man genuinely believed he was seduced by a paranormal entity. Some people are calling it dogging, actually, on the Facebook page.
On Facebook, one person said that's what he told his missus. LOL. I'm just off to the woods to do some research. It's called dogging in Lancashire, or so I've been told. And the Viscount in the chat room said he walked about naked for 4 hours. The only thing he got was a cold.
He said,
and a slap from his missus.
He said that he was driving back from a date that hadn't gone as planned. He saw a beautiful woman on the side of the road and he picked her up. Mr. Davis said the man, known as John, then pulled over and took the mysterious woman into a public toilet. He said the ghost seduced John in terms too graphic to describe. John wrote, then I started to smell something strange. At first I thought it was like a cigarette smell. I was choking and I thought I was going to die. I was crying and everything. I was passing out. I just wanted a policeman to start banging on the window and save me. I pushed her back with all my force, and there was not a pretty girl on me, but some haggard, disgusting old woman with some kind of awful skin condition. Oh, excuse me again. I just screamed and screamed and she just vanished. Mr. Davis said he believes the man could have been affected by sleep paralysis after nodding off. Sleep paralysis is a condition where the victim feels wide awake but is unable to move a muscle. It is often accompanied by delusions of being watched by a menacing presence. In the Renaissance era, they believed that the paralysis was caused by succubi who would seduce people while they were asleep, Mr. Davis said. His book, Ghost Sex...
You've also got the old hag syndrome there as well.
Yes, his book, Ghost Sex, has already sold 3,000 copies online and topped supernatural charts on the Amazon Kindle story. He is also the editor of the Paranormal Chronicles, a website that looks into suspected sightings of ghosts and UFOs. Writing this book has taken its toll on me, said Mr. Davis. This is just one account, and many of the others are far more graphic and quite traumatic to research. It is certainly the last time I will write a book about ghost sex.
Yeah, the Viscount said, how romantic a public toilet. Such class.
So, but there's the link for you. Obviously, I didn't hit it. Good evening, Viscount. Nice to see you there.
Yeah, I won't say the last thing he said.
That's all right.
Otherwise, his missus would definitely slap him. And I wouldn't want to see him next time he comes up with a black eye.
No, not really. So, but that's what I've decided to call Susie's Two Penneth.
Yeah. Go for it, girl. Go for it. You have to find one every week now. You've given it a name.
Every now and again, I get a 2 penneth.
The tuppence.
Susie's tuppence.
And the film was High Spirits.
High Spirits, that was it. Yeah, we'll have to watch that again. It's been a long time. Topping. Yes. Who remembers the film and who remembers Topping? And I wonder if anybody else has experienced Topping. So, but I have done some observations in the past year about. Did you know what? Actually, do you know what topping is?
No, what does it actually mean when you say topping?
Topping, right? It is to tap or to have sexual relations with. Obviously, the expletori's there, and it originally comes from Othello by Shakespeare.
And that was me thinking it was an Irish thing from the film because the film was based in Ireland.
There you go. So it's not a ghostly thing.
And Andy said all he heard was something about a black eye. Could he have been away?
I don't know. Just read what's been posted, Andy, and you'll get the drift of it. I don't know. Well, I think it's time we got our guest on. Now, if you've just joined us, just to let you know, Peter Lythgoe, he contacted us a while ago and asked if he could come on the show and talk to us about his experiences, and been very accommodating to anyone who wants to come on and talk about, their personal experiences and stuff like that. We said yes, didn't we, Steve?
We did.
And so we're going to find out, his theories and his experiences and what he thinks of certain things. So we're going to get him on the phone now, or on the Skype. Hopefully it's going to work all right. So bear with us. Good evening, Peter.
Hi, okay?
Hiya.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Okay,
Thanks.
and first of all, can you tell us a bit about yourself? I believe you're from this neck of the woods, aren't you? You're from Glossop.
Yes, I am originally. I moved down to Weymouth about 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I've lived in the Derbyshire area for quite some time. I've moved around. I was born in Glossop, then we moved to Manchester, and then we moved to Chapel End of Frith, and Chinley, so around the foothills of the
So you moved out a bit from Glossop, Chinley, Chapel of Frith. We went through there only the other day, didn't we? So on the way to, where's we going? Chesterfield, that's right, yeah.
Yes, I know that.
So now, whereabouts are you? But you're based in Weymouth now, aren't you?
Weymouth in Dorset, yes.
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 And obviously you've had some experiences yourself. But before we go into them, are you a member of this Fast Walkers group?
Well, I created the Fast Walkers Facebook group.
Okay, yeah.
Some time ago.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to a lot of American podcasts about UFOs.
Yeah.
And I decided to try to make some way that they could interact together and that I could communicate with them.
Right. Okay.
So I created this Facebook group, Fast Walker 1, I call it, and it's growing all the time.
Oh, that's good then. And you're into UFOs, aren't you? Where did this all start?
I guess it all started when I first got the Condon report from Chapel and Frith Library.
Yeah.
When I was very small. And it's kind of grown from there.
Mm. Can you tell us a bit about your how it's grown and what you've been doing to
and what is this report?
You know, and what the report is.
Well, the Condon report was, I believe it was an American way to try to explain what UFOs were, mainly knocking them out of the sky almost, saying a lot of them were natural phenomena, aeroplanes, all kinds of things. It was just a way for the American military and government to negate the whole subject.
Yeah.
But I think that must have piqued my interest, because then I began collecting books about UFOs by Keel and a lot of other people, and I've still got them now in my library here. And the interest has grown. With something like this, I guess you try to keep it hidden.
Yeah. Because
people think you're a little crazy talking about this kind of stuff. But then more people seem to be talking about it now.
Yeah.
It seems to be coming out in the clear, as it were. So it seems easier to talk about things like this now.
Yeah, definitely. There are a lot of people that are into this subject. So, and now you've had some experiences yourself, haven't you?
Yes, I have. Yes. I can't really say that they were alien spacecraft.
No.
But what I can say is that I've never seen anything like them before.
Yeah.
I guess the most impressive I ever saw was on my way back from the Philippines a few years ago. We were at something like 30,000 feet, and the pilot announced that everybody should close the shutters on the windows.
Yeah.
And I wondered what that was for, because it was in the middle of daylight. I couldn't understand why he wanted to close the windows, the shutters. So I guess I left mine half open because I wanted to see what would happen. And the aircraft was flying on a steady, straight course, and directly underneath the aeroplane passed something.
Yeah.
I tried. It was incredibly fast. I tried to look for flight surfaces on it, whether it was a bolide or I don't know. I couldn't see any flight surfaces, no wings, no tailplane, anything. And the trail it seemed to leave behind looked like a solid cloud, as it were.
Yeah.
And I couldn't understand what would do that. After the thing had gone, then we were told to bring up the window slides, the window curtains again.
It's weird, that, isn't it?
It is, yes.
You know.
I've got a feeling that the pilot knew it was coming because he would probably see it. All I know also is that maybe 50 to 100 feet up, and it would have gone straight through the airplane.
Yeah. So it was
And I
a
wouldn't be
solid
here
mass
talking
then.
to you now.
So it's a solid mass then.
It seemed to be, yes. Yeah. It was the most extraordinary thing.
Yeah. So was that your first? Was that your first experience?
No. I guess it was my first experience, but I've seen others since that I can't explain.
Right. Okay.
The next one I saw was my wife Gina and I were walking along Weymouth seafront. I guess about 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and it was dark, and we looked up and we saw 2 lights that seemed to be connected together. One seemed to be trailing the other, but they were in perfect alignment, and there was no noise. And they just seemed to go out to sea. They were very high up, and they weren't satellites or anything like that, but that was really strange. The next experience I had was I was in an apartment overlooking Manila main airport in the Philippines, and I was on the balcony overlooking the airport, and I saw a little black dot above the airport, and it didn't look like a helicopter to me. So I got my camera, which had quite a powerful telephoto lens on it, and pointed it at the dot, and it was just a dot. That was, and then it flew away very quickly. One of the most recent experiences I had was at Disneyland in California. We were waiting for the fireworks, the massive fireworks display to start, and a guy was looking up into the sky, and he said, "What's that up there?" So I looked, and it was a bright white dot moved for a little while, then stopped. Now, with Disneyland, you see helicopters and aeroplanes going on all the time. But this was incredibly high, and it moved for a little while and then stopped, and then moved a little more and stopped once more. We had to move from the fireworks display after it finished to another part of the park to see another part of the show. So I kept looking back to see if I could see the thing that had moved, but I couldn't see it in all the stars that were there. But that was another odd thing that had happened.
Okay. I'd like to just take you back to the French Cometa. Can you tell us a bit about it? Do you know about the
Cometa report?
Yeah, the Cometa report. Can you tell us a bit about it, please?
Well, the Cometa report was, I think it's actually a department of the French government. The best thing to do, I think, is to probably put a link into the Cometa report, because it goes into very much detail, and these people actually think there is something there. From what I've heard, the French are working with these South American authorities now, who are working together, both military departments, finding these things.
Okay, I'll find a link for it and put it on there.
The original report that I read from Chaplain Frith Library was the Condon report.
The Condon report.
Condon, C-O-N-D-O-N, Condon report.
Right. Okay. Let's see if I can find that.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us some of the interesting reports that you've had at your Facebook page?
Well, with the the Facebook page itself is if you go to facebook.com/fastwalker1,
Yeah.
you'll find all kinds of reports there, not necessarily UFOs.
Right.
They are ghosts, Bigfoot, all kinds of things that people post there. One of the recent Bigfoot reports I saw was a guy went out fishing and he managed to catch a Bigfoot photograph. I think you included it on KTPF.
Yeah.
That was interesting. I'm not sure what it was, but it was interesting.
Yeah.
I think there is something there. I don't know what it is.
Right.
Like with the UFO subject, I think there is something there.
So what are your theories then, Peter? What do you think's going on? We have all these hush-hush things happening, and we've had the Rendlesham
Yes.
forest. There's the one in Mexico, the Roswell. What do you think's going on?
I think that there is something here, and it's been here for a very, very long time. I think that government or governments know that it's here. I think that whatever's here knows about us. Imagine somebody came to this country 300 years ago and married an English person. Yeah?
Yeah.
Their generations, their descendants, would have less and less and less of whoever they were when they came into the country. If my wife and I, example, have children, and their children have children, and their children have children, only over maybe 10 or 15 generations, there wouldn't be any Philippine left in those children.
No.
So I think that whatever's here has changed. Maybe using technology they inherited, or technology they found. I think Roswell could be these creatures.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, they're not aliens, they're not. If a craft was discovered and it was made by these creatures who are here already, the material that it would be made from would be earth material, but in a strange kind of mix.
Yeah.
Because that's the only material they would have to work with. They say the modern UFO era started around 1947 with sightings by Kenneth Arnold, and the Roswell incident. But with the nuclear testing that America did, and they say that the aliens are coming down because they're interested in what we're doing. But what if we woke something up? What if we roused something? Or something was inquisitive to see what we were doing? Yeah? They would come up and have a look. What if America build what they call DUMBs, that's deep underground shelters.
Yeah.
Yeah? What if in building these DUMBs, the Americans discovered something? Philip Schneider, I think, is interesting in that respect. If you look onto YouTube and look for Phil Schneider,
Yeah.
he was murdered. Whether he was murdered for telling what he knew, I don't know. But there are legends that the Germans had technology from extraterrestrials.
Yeah, I heard that Hitler was supposed to have something.
Yeah.
The videos of not only from Nazi videos, but also from America, that both countries during the war could actually have primitive form of life also.
Yes, yes. But what if the Germans discovered it by building underground shelters, which they had, underground factories, and they bumped into something? They not necessarily Middle Earth, no, I don't think the Earth is hollow. If America can build DUMBs, which are underground shelters that go for miles and miles and miles,
Yeah.
why couldn't these creatures?
Do you think maybe they've found some old technology that's been left behind?
I think they are interacting with these creatures, not that it's been left behind. I think the creatures are still here, whatever they are.
Okay. So, what's your theory to this? We keep seeing, like, for instance, when it came to the London New Year's Eve fireworks display. Now, certain things like that. There was even something at the Olympics. I think I recall the Olympic Games. I think it was. Okay, people are saying they're drones and that, but the bit that I can't get, if these flying saucers are flying into our atmosphere and into our fly zone, why aren't the military picking them up? Now, I'm wondering whether they are working together, whether they're allowing it. Or could they just
be the military anyway?
Yeah. What do you think? Why are they not... They're picking them up, obviously, and what's naming them, but as soon as an alien aircraft, say, I don't know, Al-Qaeda came flying into our fly zone, they're on it. You've got, the Harriers or whatever, they're out there and they're ready to shoot it down or bring it in or whatever. But when it comes to UFOs and possible alien aircraft,
we can't catch them.
They're not there. They can't catch them. Have you had any theories on that?
I think one of my theories is that whoever sees them at the radar bases are told not to say anything.
Yeah.
So it doesn't go any further. They are told to shut up. They're told to not say anything at all, so it doesn't go anywhere else.
Yeah.
I feel that some authorities know they're here already.
Yeah.
So they don't want those. We don't want that information to go anywhere else, because maybe these creatures have technology that is useful to the authorities, and they don't want to share that technology, because the moment they do, everybody has it.
Yeah. Yeah. See, we have people that have claimed to have been abducted in this country or all over the world.
Yes.
What's your feelings on that? Do you want to be abducted to find out what's going on?
I think that's the only way to do it.
Yeah. Chosen ones, really, aren't they?
You get a lot of people who say they were taken to a base somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Uh-huh.
but that doesn't mean that it's off planet.
No.
It could be anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, the ancients always said that these craft that they saw came from the heavens.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean space.
No.
They would have no concept of space. To them, they came from the clouds.
Yeah.
If they came from the clouds, they could come from anywhere on the planet.
Yes.
Yeah. These beings that you think that they may have run into while digging these big bunkers, do you think they're actually living down there, or are they actually up living amongst us now?
I don't know. You know, there are stories that creatures at Area 51 go to Las Vegas for the evening. I don't know how true that is.
Yeah.
I've been to Las Vegas. It's a weird place, but I don't know.
Yeah, they wouldn't actually look twice in Vegas, would they?
No,
They
it's
just
one
think
of
it's
those places.
some form of convention or something.
It's one of those places. But I don't know. They could be. They could look like us, or they could look like the Greys. I've no idea. I don't know. I would like to find out because it's driving me crazy, but I don't know.
Yeah. When was the last time you experienced anything?
I think that last time at Disneyland was the most interesting one. But I'm always on the lookout now to try to get something closer. I think it's no good just to see lights in the sky. They are interesting, but they don't prove anything. What you want to see is something 100 yards away, lit up like a Christmas tree, hovering above the road, with creatures, if possible.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Of all the things that you've seen and experienced over the years, has there been anything that you would say truly scared you?
No, I wouldn't think so. No, there's nothing that's truly scared me. It's just, I'm just inquisitive.
Right. Okay.
I just want to know what the hell is it? You know.
Well, we've got David Lloyd. He's going to come in and join in the conversation. Okay.
Okay, it's fine. Yeah.
I hope this works. Add to group call. Let's hope this works. Right. Okay, David, are you there? Can you hear me, David? Are you in? Are you out?
Hello.
Hi. Can you hear him okay, Peter?
Yes, I can hear it fine.
Okay.
Yes.
So, David, what have you got to tell us about UFOs? Are you there?
I'm here. I'm just I'm getting a bit of feedback here.
Right.
Yeah,
if you turn the speaker down on the show, then you'll be all right.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, I'm still a bit loud. What was going to say? Yeah, it's interesting stuff. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you fine. Yes.
Oh, great. So, what are we talking about? UFOs? Because I have got an interest in UFOs. I've had a couple of sightings myself, which I couldn't explain. Well, I've always been interested, even as a kid. I first started reading books about UFOs. But there's been a lot going on over the years, from Roswell right through to the Project Blue Book, which seems to be a bit of a smear campaign. And then, as you said, the Condon report and the Comessa report, the French report. And just recently, at the press club in Washington, D.C., they had 5 senators to listen to, ex-senators, to listen to proof from different people, from the Canadian minister, he'd also had proof put in front of him to say that aliens were here and he'd been visiting here for thousands of years.
That's right.
But also they had different people from the military, some guys who'd worked on top projects to do with films, and they'd seen all sorts of films and photographs, movies sent back from the moon, where they were seeing all sorts of buildings and alien craft and everything on the back of the moon, and it was covered up. It was all covered up, but it's finally beginning to come out. It's taking time, but it's gaining momentum. And I was listening to a video the other night with a guy called Captain Randy, his second name escapes me, Crawford I think it was, and he reckons that we've got a base on the moon and a base on Mars called Adam and Eve, and that he was actually fighting alien creatures on Mars. I know this sounds fantastic, you know, it's a leap of faith, but just tonight I was looking at something that said that NASA have confirmed that the scout that they've got on there, the rover that they sent over there, has actually pictured something, some sort of craft, and they've actually accepted that it's something that shouldn't be there, that is there, and they've confirmed that it's an unknown flying object. So little by little, things are starting to be released in different countries. Even in this country, they've let a lot of reports out from the Ministry of Defence, which Nick Pope used to be in charge of.
Question for both you guys. Do you think any government will officially come out and say, yes, there are alien spacecraft visiting Earth, we are talking to them? And if you do, which country do you think will actually step up first?
I think Russia could do first. I think they're going to find it difficult to say they're aliens because they might not be.
Yeah.
If they are these creatures that I posit who live underground, it would be difficult for them to tell people that they live underground because these creatures might have been here first.
So you think that it's possible that they could be Earth's original inhabitants?
It's possible. I don't know, but
right.
imagine what would happen if they were, and they had some kind of, I know it sounds crazy, but some kind of recording equipment or some kind of device that would record what's going on topside. Yeah?
Yeah.
Imagine that they've recorded events in our history.
Okay.
And imagine that we met one of them and we said, you know, our religion is a Christian religion. We've learned this from the Bible about Jesus, about the Sermon on the Mount, for instance. But just imagine if this creature said, okay, well, we'll show you. We'll show you what actually happened.
Wow. Wow, yeah. What do you think, David?
Well, back in 2010, I think it was Sergeant Clifford Stone. It was one of the military guys at this press conference in Washington, D.C. When he worked on crash retrieval, so he's one of the first people on the scene, mainly in America, but I think he actually came over to Rendlesham. I remember asking him, actually, he said he did come over after sighting, after the fiasco of the Christmas, the 3 days when the sightings were over in Rendlesham, Sergeant Clifford Stone, and they said that they'd logged 57 different types of aliens that had either visited Earth here, or some had gone back home because they had their own troubles, you know, the conflicts where they came from. And he said, what he virtually said was, there's actually some that look so much like us, they walk amongst us and you wouldn't even know. But then you've got all different types. But the Russian Prime Minister said 2 years ago, his name is Dmitry Mendeleev, said that aliens do exist, but you know, to tell the wider public, it's like a bomb going off. Some people aren't ready for it. 50% of the Americans reckon that aliens exist, but they just won't let the cat out of the bag. And one of the reasons they can't let the cat out of the bag because of the truth embargo. The fact that for 60, 70 years now they've withheld the technology. If you think about mobile phones, I mean, look how big mobile phones were. They were as big as a house brick, weren't they, 20 years ago?
Yeah.
Now they're getting smaller. You can even, in China now, you can even buy a watch. It's got a video on it, and you can talk to someone else on another watch the other side of the world. They've held back technology so much. The only way we get to know about it is drip, 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 because we pay for the next iPhone.
Yeah.
But if you think about how they've hung onto the oil, we've had cars since the early 1900s, and we're still driving cars now. Cars are a thing of the past.
Yeah.
Now this guy who said Captain Randy Kramer, that was his name, Captain Randy Kramer. He reckoned that he'd been on Mars for 18 years.
Yeah, but you're talking about money now, Dave, and not.
Well,
the truth is, it's all about money and power.
Well, yeah, that's true. This guy Randy Kramer, he said, what's happened now is he's come back. He's come back from his tour of duty, whatever, on Mars. Believe that as you take it, but he was actually on a show with Albert Weber and the guy from up north, Simon Parks, who's a counsellor.
Yes, I did see that one. Yes,
very good at three-way chat. Anyway, the fact is, he says what's happening now is the Rothschilds the Rothschilds is another one. The Rockefellers are coming away from oil. And just recently, it's been on the TV that the price of oil has dropped through the floor.
Yeah.
And it could be loads of people losing their jobs in Scotland. And Randy Kramer said the US Navy is one of the biggest users of oil, and they're changing over. They've got a way of getting the same propulsion out of seawater, taking hydrogen out of the water or something. Yeah. And there's a guy in Germany who's also devised a car that runs on seawater by taking the hydrogen out. So he says over the next few years you're going to see people withdrawing from oil, and it's just gonna drop out, because that's how the cabal, the Illuminati, keep everything together through oil. That's why we've had no technology breakthroughs in the last 100 years to do with cars. We should have hoverboards or hover cars or anything now. I mean,
well, they were saying that by the time we get to hit now, we'll probably be on hover cars, but nobody's made them yet, have they?
Well, you got the maglev trains where they use magnetism.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, what's stopping people laying some sort of magnetism in roads, and you'd get rid of all the pollution. There'd be no pollution. The place would be cleaner. Yeah. And you know, I mean, they could move from oil, the powerful people, and move into something where they'd still make money, because they'd be the first to get to whatever it was. You know, when it's just how much seawater is there? 7 cents of the earth is covered by water, isn't it? You know? Yeah, so, this is it. You know, so it makes you wonder what the future's how the future lies for the oil industry, because you know, it's looking pretty shaky at the minute.
Going back to alien abduction, Dave, do you think the same as what Peter thinks, that they're not being taken off Earth, they're being taken somewhere else on Earth?
Well, I mean, there's many theories, isn't there? I mean, the theory going back years ago is that the Anunnaki actually used human beings and upgraded their DNA to mine the gold for them, because gold was so important. It's supposed to, as far as your health goes, supposed to make you live hundreds of years, like they used to in the Bible. I think I've said about this in the past, but nobody can prove that somebody lasted for 800 years or 1,000 years.
No,
supposedly in the Bible it's the truth, and they said so and so lasted for so many hundred years. But as for people being abducted, it seems that most of the people, especially women, it's something to do with the blood. Something with the blood, rhesus negative, they seem to be taken more than any other people. And there's only 15% of people in the world who have rhesus negative blood, and a lot of them are in Ireland and over here, and a place in Spain. But why did they get taken off planet?
Yeah.
I mean, look at the case of Travis Walton, where he was out with his friends. There were 6 or 7 loggers in a car, and they seen this light in the woods. They'd been lumberjacking or chopping trees down, and they thought a plane had crashed. And when he come round into the clearing, he seen this massive craft, and he got out and got closer to it instead of bloody staying in the car, and he got zapped by a beam. And the next thing is, his mates buggered off down the road, and he got beamed up into the craft, and he found that he was in a ship, but he said they'd only come here to pick like different things up and take them somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like if we were land on an island, we take specimens of flowers and different animals and stuff like that. And he said they won't be back for thousands. They were just visiting, sort of thing. But there's other aliens who are actually. I mean, there's some of the reptilian aliens who said that they eat humans. You know,
See, it takes us back. I don't know if you actually was listening when we had James Rink on, and he was a MELAB, which is military abductions, which are joint with alien abductions. You know, making super warriors. You know, it's
super soldiers.
Yeah, super soldiers in there. It makes you wonder.
I've talked to James. He's a great guy, you know, and he's been through the mill for the first 20 odd years. You know, he was living underground. There's quite a few of them. There's Max Spears, Sarah Adams in this country that have come out. James Casbolt is another one, and they've been born underground. I mean, I know one of the girls, Sarah, she was born in a test tube, and more or less brought up in a cage, and to put under a MK Ultra program where they're programmed as kids to go through all sorts of horrific things, but it makes them stronger. And then once you've got these where the personality has been split, called alters, you could have 15 different personalities. So literally you could go out and shoot somebody, come back, have your tea, and that one part of the brain would be shut off, and you'd move into another part of the brain, and you'd just carry on as if absolutely nothing could happen. Now, when you say military abductions, I mean, you're talking teleportation and everything, because they've got to pick them up and drop them off and all that. You know, it's so much to take in. You know, you got to have a bit of an imagination. But what you've got to realise is they were cloning Dolly the sheep in the 1970s. It's 50, 60 years later. I mean, there's a guy who says that as far as they've got now is they've actually making clones of people. And what they do, they transfer the consciousness, what makes you what you are, onto a chip and put the chip into the clone. It's unbelievable. And he says you would never know it was a clone. He says from the early days, they've been doing this from the 40s when they had all the Germans in the Second World War that came up, Project Paperclip.
Now, Peter, I'm sorry, David. Peter, what do you think about that there could be the prospect that we're learning too much? We hear so many things in the past about people disappearing for some reason or another. Do you think we're learning too much and too much too fast?
No, I don't think so.
No,
I think the case of Travis Walton was mentioned by David.
Yeah.
Travis Walton has come forward with he doesn't really think now he was kidnapped.
No.
He thinks now he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right.
Yeah.
And the aliens or whatever they were tried to rescue him because he thinks he was hit by a bolt from the ship purely by accident.
Yeah.
And the aliens would try to rescue him and make him better, put it simply. If you listen to Travis Walton in his most recent interviews, that's what he says.
Yeah.
I think you have to take a lot of these people who say they work on Mars with a pinch of salt. I have no proof of that, so I can't say whether it's true or false.
No.
If they brought some kind of proof forward,
yeah,
maybe contracts or something, some concrete proof that they say they can prove what they say, then I would begin to believe them.
Of course, that's not easy, is it? You know, to say.
No, it isn't easy. But if they want us to believe them, then they bring that proof forward.
But the thing is, I have got an interest in this subject, and I've mentioned Captain Randy Kramer. What's her name? Simon Parkes talks about Mars. You've got Andrew Basiago, who was a child participant in a thing called Project Pegasus. His dad was in the Navy, and they were to do with teleportation experiments. This is way back in the early 60s. And
he jumped off the the ship that teleported from one place to another, didn't he?
No, that was someone else. That was the other fellow who went forward in time. Apparently, I know you talk. I can't. His name escapes me, but Andrew Basiago was part of this Project Pegasus. 140 children took part, and he said some of them didn't make it, but eventually they sorted out. It was to do with it's to do with Mars and the Moon and traveling backwards and forwards in time. There's billions of different timelines apparently, and you can tune into these. If you think about it, it's like having a radio on the beach, and you want to listen to the sport on Channel 5, but to get to Channel 5 you have to go through all different channels. The channels are still there when you switch over, it's just that you're not tuned into that frequency. And what we see here with our five senses, and we can only see 1% of visible light. Everything else around us, we can't see what's going on. We can only sense it with our five senses.
So you're talking about interdimensional beings rather than
I was talking about at that time about timelines, but also you've got Andrew Basiago. There's 3 or 4 people come forward, and also Dwight D. Eisenhower's granddaughter, Laura Eisenhower, and she has said that she was approached. It must be about 8 to 10 years now, to be part of a colony on Mars in case the Earth got zapped by either a nuclear war or a giant meteor. So they needed someone somewhere else to keep the human population, to keep them going, but she refused. So that's another. So you ended up getting 5 or 6. Then you say, well, they can't all be lying. There's got to be elements of truth. And then you hear from someone else like David Wilcock that there's jump rooms from you can get from A to B.
Yeah.
It's like you go in, you don't wear nothing metallic, and you come out the other end after 30 seconds. I know it sounds fantastic, but if you switched the light bulb on 300-400 years ago, that'd have been fantastic, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would have been.
We're only being fed what the cabal or the Illuminati get, what we pay for, like the next iPhone.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Dave, for giving us your points of view and your experiences. Thanks for that. Okay, and hopefully we'll get you back on the show sometime and talk more about this.
Okie dokie.
All right. Cheers, my love.
Okay. Bye. Now.
So, Peter, you're still there?
Yes, I'm still here. Yes.
I get a bit worried when it comes to dual having somebody else feed on there as well. So basically, Peter, how far are you going to go with this? What are you hoping to find, or what are you hoping to achieve with your UFO experiences?
I think I'll keep going forward with Fast Walker 1.
Yeah.
Building an audience on there.
Mm-hmm.
I also have my own podcast.
Yeah. Yep, that's your Zip Media, isn't it?
That's the Zip & Co podcast on Zip Media, yes.
Yep, I was going to ask you about that.
Yep, I have a website. I create videos of local events, local people, all kinds of things. Mm-hmm. I have a YouTube channel. I have a free app. So on the podcast, I have a spot called Weird Stuff that I created that people can send their UFO experiences into, or any other kind of experience they have. And they could either record it themselves, or they can send me a text or like an email, and I will read it out online. They will get full credit, of course. So I hope to build on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And maybe create another show.
Yeah.
Also, I'm working on a project with 2 other friends that I can't really talk about at the moment because I don't want to jinx it.
No.
But it will be something really interesting in the world of ghost investigations.
Oh, right. That'd be interesting.
So that's coming up.
Yeah. Okay.
So I've been interested in this since I was a kid, in everything. Ghosts, Bigfoot, UFOs. And I just want to find out why. Yeah. That is the only question I ask. Why? Why does it happen?
Peter, of all the things that you're interested in, like you said there with Bigfoot, UFOs, ghosts and that, where's your heart lie?
Good question. I think it's UFOs.
Yeah.
My wife and I recently went on holiday to America, and we ended up in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And we were staying with my wife's relatives. The husband was a long-distance lorry driver. He'd taken 2 weeks off to drive us around. And one evening he said to me, "Where would I like to go?" And I said, "Well, I know it's a bit far, but I've always wanted to go to the Little Ailey Inn. You know the Little Ailey Inn?"
Yeah.
Yeah, in
Nevada, isn't it?
That's right, Rachel, Nevada.
Yeah.
He said, "Okay, we'll go tomorrow." So that's what we did. We all piled in the car and drove through the desert for what seemed like hours and hours. And we came over the rise of a hill in the middle of the desert, and he said, "Where is it?" I said, "There's got to be a sign somewhere."
Yeah.
There's always a sign. And we looked down into this big dip in the desert, and I said, "There it is, right there." And it's just a conglomeration of small buildings. And we pulled into the drive of the Little Ailey Inn, and if you go to Fast Walker 1, you can see a picture of me actually by the sign.
Yeah.
And it was very surreal to be there, because I dreamed about going there since I was a kid. Never thought I'd make it, but there I was. And to go in and just have a cup of coffee and a ham and cheese sandwich and just look at the place was really, as I say, it was really surreal.
Yeah.
If you looked on the wall, you saw all the people that had been there before. You know, like famous podcasters and people who've done shows, coast to coast, all those people have been there before.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting to be there. I'd like to go again sometime, but you know,
one
some other places.
question that came up earlier.
Sure.
Why was you going to the Philippines, by the way?
The first time I was going to meet my now wife. The second time I went to get married.
Oh, right. There you go.
So, yes, I proposed on a suspension bridge over a volcano.
Oh, right.
Wow.
So
that's one way to do it.
Yep. Yeah, if she'd have said no, I'd have jumped in the volcano.
Oh, bless. Well, thanks a lot, Peter. It's been great having you on the show, hearing about your experiences and your theories and stuff. And again, if you want to pop over to Peter's website, it's www.zip, which is ZZIPP-media.com.
All one word.
Okay, so and you'll find all these podcasts and stuff there, I believe. That's right, that's what you said, wasn't it?
That's right, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Also, if they want to go to the Fast Walker 1 Facebook page, there is a link on the website to that.
Okay. Well, thanks
So
very
just
much,
click
Peter.
on that link.
It's been great having you on the show.
It's been great to be there.
Thank you. Speak to you soon.
Yeah, take care of yourself.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, that was Peter Lythgoe. I'm hoping that I'm saying that right. And telling us his thoughts and experiences. And we also had Dave there. Thank you, Dave, for popping on and telling us your theories and opinions and stuff. It made for great conversation, didn't it?
It did.
Okay.
It did.
What
Yeah,
we're going to do?
and the thing that Dave was saying about Eisenhower's daughter, he's put the YouTube link on there for everybody.
Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to play this advert now, and we'll speak to you in a moment.
The Paranormal Intelligence Gathering Services Ghost Store is a one-stop shop for all of your ghost hunting gadgetry needs. Run by ghost hunters for ghost hunters, the shop is filled with all of the latest in investigation equipment, shipped in from all around the world, from high-quality digital dictaphones to EMF pumps, infrared illuminators to laser grid pens, CCTV equipment to data loggers. All of our equipment has already been imported, so you can buy it safe in the knowledge that there will be no hidden costs. And with our postage promise, you'll never pay more than the actual postage price. So visit www.the-pigs.co.uk/ghost store.
You're listening to the KTPF Community Talk Show with Steve and Suzanne Taggart, covering the supernatural, the paranormal, and other strange phenomena to keep the paranormal friendly.
Now, next up we have Andy
Mercer.
Mercer.
On the funny side, I've got some paranormal.
Oh, have you?
And it happened today at
Really?
Manchester City's football ground.
All right.
Arsenal beat them.
Yes, it was a ghost team from the mid-2000s, and we used to actually have to win matches.
I think they said it's the first time in 7 years that Arsenal beat a Manchester team.
Well, Arsene Wenger's been going on about a ghost team or a ghost and something or other.
Well,
that's more Andy's field there, being the gooner.
Yes.
Absolutely.
How are you, Andy?
It's been the Arsenal of the mid-2000s. The last couple of matches, actually, when we used to be the Invincibles rather than the Unconvincibles, as we've been more recently. I'm fine, absolutely wonderful.
Good.
The old show at the bingo, now home settled into the southern hub, shall we say?
The southern hub, yes. The new southern hub.
Are we sitting comfortably?
Now, before we go into your bits and pieces, Andy, okay, first of all, was you receiving the show okay?
Yes, I was interested. I was listening. I was doing my best to stay in tune and follow on.
Right, okay. Right, now, one thing I mentioned earlier that I'm going to ask the people in the chat room something to do with houses. Now, should you tell a potential buyer if your house is haunted? What do you reckon, Andy?
Interesting question. Funny enough, it's something that's I know it's been mentioned before on the news and things like that. Now, being who I am and being interested in the paranormal, I personally would like to know for obvious reasons.
Well, I'm going to tell you exactly where the law stands, okay?
Well, they have to across the pond, don't they? They have to say.
I believe so, yeah. I think I've heard that somewhere, that it has to be included.
I've got an article here that was actually published last year, around about Halloween time. But in the Daily Mail, Max Davison for the Daily Mail, exactly who did the article. It said, how much do you need to tell a buyer about your home? The skeletons in the property closet that house sellers are obliged to reveal. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
When selling your home, do you need to tell prospective purchasers that there is a ghost called Sir Roderick Varley in the spare room who moans when there is a full moon? Oh, and that according to the local legend, Sir Roderick was brutally murdered in 1776, hacked to death by the village butcher. And here's another horrifying question. What if you do admit, don't tell them, and you don't mention it, and the ghost of Sir Roderick, about the ghost of Sir Roderick, and then he proceeds to spook the new owner's 6-year-old daughter, leaving her traumatised. Could the parents sue for failing to disclose something about the house? Right, I'm wondering what's coming up in the chat room. Nothing's coming up at the moment. Nobody's giving their opinions. What do you think in the chat room? What do you think, Andy? Do you think we should?
Well, I think you have the of what if they don't believe in ghosts. I think you're trying to take that one to court. The court would probably fall about with laughter.
Well, these questions might sound more appropriate for April Fool's Day, but after all, ghosts are just a figment of imagination seen by some people and not others. This is what they're saying. I don't think they're a figment of imagination. But as a householder, you surely cannot be held responsible for spectral presences in the same way that you can be accountable for a dodgy boiler or a damp patch on the kitchen ceiling. Can you? Okay. Well, yes and no is the answer. Failing to declare a ghost on the premises has not yet landed a house seller in legal hot water in this country. Okay. But across the pond, the picture is very different. They take their ghosts seriously in the States. In the celebrated case of Stambrowski versus Ackley in 1991, the New York Supreme Court upheld on an appeal that a complaint by the purchaser of a haunted house that the owner had not warned him the property was haunted, even though it had featured in ghost tours of the neighbourhood, and its poltergeist were minor local celebrities. Okay, the sale was duly rescinded, and the seller had to find another buyer, and the poltergeist probably laughed their heads off, it says. A number of US states now require full disclosure of stigmatized properties, an umbrella term covering everything from properties where murders or suicides have taken place to ones which have been used as brothels or drug dens.
Again, those things I can understand because they're obviously very provable events, but a ghost haunting, I think it's a difficult one, really.
Well, we have not yet reached this point in this country, although the old legal principle of caveat emptor, I think that's how you pronounce it, or let the buyer beware, has certainly undergone considerable refinement in recent years as consumer protection laws have been tightened. It is no longer the case that the entire onus is on the purchaser to uncover potential problems with a property, says Jeremy Raj, a partner in residential property at London law firm Wedlake Bell. Quite simply, if the seller or selling agent has information that might adversely affect the value of the property or the new owner's enjoyment of it, they are obliged to disclose it. So beware.
Well, me personally, I think you should declare.
I do declare.
But I have another question for you.
Go on.
I sell my haunted house to Andy there.
Yeah.
Who's delighted because he's into ghosts.
Yeah.
And the ghosts of my house don't like Andy, so they don't show up. Can he then sue me because it's not haunted?
Yeah.
Sue for the absence of the ghost, absolutely, yes.
A typical example might be a property where a previous sale has fallen through because of adverse findings in a structural survey. The house seller cannot just hope that the next buyer's surveyor does not spot the same snags. He has to confess or put himself on the wrong side of the law. But with property legislation being rewritten the whole time under the aegis of the new Competitions and Markets Authority, there are still a lot of grey areas. Is one really required to reveal everything and anything about the property to which a picky buyer might take exception? Where does one draw the line? Now, the short-lived home information packs, or HIPs,
that was bizarre.
now defunct, required people selling houses to gather a raft of information before putting their properties on the market. But the burden of paperwork on sellers was so onerous that it put them off selling at all. There is far less red tape now, although it is still compulsory to produce energy performance certificates and information about planning consents, etc. But how about if you have a neighbour who keeps Staffordshire Bull Terriers or who plays Oasis at full volume at 3 a.m? Are you obliged to notify the new owners? Or is it all right to keep stum? Yeah? Do you think it is? You've got to
I can actually answer that. As I say, if you reported it to the police or the authorities, then you have to declare that. If you haven't, then you don't.
Well, the answer will vary from case to case. It is usually just a matter of opinion whether neighbours are too noisy. But if you have a long-running dispute with a neighbour about a garden fence, disclosure is advisable. Yeah. As for things that go bump in the night, Jeremy Raj has no experience of disputes involving ghosts, which he doubts would be regarded as legally observable phenomena by a property tribunal. After all, as he points out, there has been battles fought up and down the country for centuries, and people have met bloody ends in every parish in England. Although he does urge people buying and selling old property to pay particular close attention to bats, they have been instances of people buying houses where they were protected species of bats in attics and outhouses, which the seller had failure to fully disclose. You can hush up a ghost, it seems, but not a greater horseshoe bat. So, yes, it's basically, if you're in America, yes.
Well, I would say it's burden of proof at the end of the day anyway. At the moment, at the present time, despite what they want to do in America, no one has actually proved that ghost exists.
No, this is it.
So how can you sue because you weren't told about a ghost if there's no proof that a ghost actually exists?
As far as I know, it's very rare to have something like the Enfield poltergeist. Yeah.
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 Or the Pontefract poltergeist.
Yeah. Well,
that's disputable, of course. All of that. There's no concrete verified case anywhere in the world.
Poltergeists are usually more to do with the people, not the property.
Yeah, I know. This is what I'm saying. So it's very rare. What I'm saying is to have a haunted house where everything's like going mental and what have you. How many times have we had a case come to us and they've turned around and said, you know, we're getting shadows or whatever, and this, that, and the other, like, things are moving. Blah blah blah.
We've had loads of times people say we got cupboard doors banging and being pulled off the wall. When we go around, there's absolutely nothing.
You know,
all the cupboard wall, all perfectly on the wall, no problem. Like Viscount just said, but surely that's just personal perception.
Absolutely.
Because I can see the ghost or see the shadow,
doesn't mean to say that somebody else is going to see him.
True.
Take for instance the Row Cross Inn.
Yes.
Right. The Row Cross Inn was haunted. The family saw the ghost. We had
several ghosts at the Row Cross.
Several ghosts, yeah. We had glasses flying all about the place, smashing. We asked them not to smash them anymore, and they rolled them instead on an old stone floor, which was good. But because we actually acknowledged the only owner that wasn't on the list, on this plaque that they had of all the owners from 1766 or whatever to present day, he wasn't on there. He was kicking off, yeah. But as soon as we recognised him, and we noticed, you know, we found him on the sensors and all this, that, and the other, and blah blah blah, he calmed down. You know, the
Viscount actually said he worked there for 4 years as a chef.
Did he? And then there was the story when Dave woke up and he saw a woman walk past his bed through the wall.
Yeah, she stopped and looked right at him first and scared the living daylights out of him.
Screamed like a baby. But,
and then there was the case where it was Dave's mum.
Yes.
Because when they first moved in, they wasn't using the pub, was they?
No, the pub area downstairs.
Yeah, they were just using. Well, they were, but only for parties.
Yeah.
She went down to do something, and there was an old man sitting at the table having a beer.
Yeah.
And she went back up to Dave and said, "I didn't think you were letting people in down there." He said, "I'm not." And when she explained, he went down and there was an empty pint glass on the table. So, the Viscount said he'd never seen or experienced anything, if I'm honest. Well, except the owner's daughters who give me the willies.
But this is what I'm saying, you see. They saw things, but when the new owner came in, he didn't believe. Bear with me, something's just beeped at me. You know, he didn't believe, so he obviously didn't experience anything. So,
who's come back to us?
Oh, it was Peter. He said thanks for a great interview. He hopes he wasn't too over the top.
No, you're welcome.
And to keep me informed of any feedback. So,
yeah, he's welcome.
But this is what I'm saying. The new owner didn't believe, so therefore he obviously didn't feel anything.
And didn't last long.
No.
Yeah, I mean, Dave was saying that when he put new equipment in the kitchen, fuses and all sorts were blowing all the time.
This is it. There was a cupboard in the kitchen, a cold room, wasn't it? Storeroom thing.
Yes, that was.
Every time they'd put something down in there, they'd end up downstairs. So it's like a port downstairs.
Like a portal, and it flying through.
Yeah.
And either that or they'd lose something and they'd find it in there.
Oh, they'd find it in there. But this is it, you know. I think the reason why the old landlord moved is because probably losing hand over fist, but
Yeah.
I don't think it was down to paranormal stuff.
Well, he stopped a lot of stuff, didn't he?
Yeah. So
Stuff that okay, it wasn't doing a great deal, but it was keeping them running.
yeah,
And he stopped the music. He stopped the ghost stuff.
yeah.
He didn't particularly want us there when we were doing the meetings.
Mm.
He stopped all that sort of stuff and lost a lot of
Yeah.
customers through it.
So this is what I'm saying.
No,
We could move into a house that we think is haunted, nothing could happen, you know, or vice versa. You know what I mean? So there you have it. If you're in England, you don't have to, but it's obliged.
And no, Viscount, it wasn't. That definitely wasn't the case. It wasn't. He said, "Is it possible they were using the paranormal concept to just ride on the back to get customers in?"
No,
the one glass actually fell right in front of you, didn't it?
Yeah,
And landed the right way up.
yeah. Frightened the bloody life out of me.
Yes, we do have it on film, but it is rather dark.
There was one night we were there and we were late at night talking, and about 2 o'clock I thought, well, we're not going to do something, you know, because
You're not going to get.
he'd give me a few large glasses of wine, hadn't he?
Yeah.
Well, I say a few.
Well,
Gave me a large glass of wine, and by 2 o'clock I thought, well, we're not going to be doing any calling out. I got up to go to the toilet just before we left, and as I got up and said, well, I'm going to make a move in a minute, I'm just going to go to the loo, and as I got up, something came down and smashed on the stone floor, sort of just over the way from us. And it was like,
in the pub,
all right, I won't go to the toilet.
And everybody in the pub, i.e. the owners, their daughters, that were sitting with us.
Yeah.
So there was no one else in the pub apart from us.
It was as if we weren't acknowledging it, and therefore it was like, oi, you know. So,
what year?
What year? 2008.
Yeah,
we hadn't long started.
Yeah, good. David just took over.
Yeah, and he didn't believe it, and it was his mum and dad that saw it first, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was moaning, how come everybody else is seeing things and not me?
And customers were seeing stuff in the ladies' toilet.
And when he did, he screamed.
Yeah. So
yes, there was John used to see that's Dave's dad. He used to see a little girl all the time, didn't he?
Yeah.
And she'd smile at him.
Then he saw Thomas, didn't he?
He saw Thomas once, yeah.
Thomas Chadwick. Because we'd gone there and we picked up on the name Thomas Chadwick.
Yes. And
his family.
And we picked up on his wife's name as well.
Elizabeth.
Yeah.
And then we were saying it's not on the plaque. And then he called us back about a week later. He said, I think you better come in. Somebody's given me the census. And he showed us the census. And it said Thomas Chadwick, his wife Elizabeth, etc.
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, Viscount said he worked there from 87 to 91.
Right, okay. so yeah.
No, it wasn't. I mean, the first time we were just there talking, weren't we? And you know them, they're quite heavy, but you put little, they're like a paperweight, but you put a candle in.
Yeah, I think you got them from not Aldi. What's that place?
The Swedish place.
There, IKEA.
IKEA.
Yeah. IKEA, and they were like an amber colour.
Yeah.
And we was about to walk out, and it smashed so hard on the stone floor
that was me.
That the glass actually turned to dust.
Yeah, it smashed that hard. It turned to dust. That was me spilling up some paper.
Yeah, not all of it, mind you, but there was where it actually made initial contact. It was just glass dust on the floor.
So, but yeah, I must admit, there's been a couple of places. I can't tell you off the top of my head, but where people have turned around and said, take for instance these paranormal places that we go to.
Yeah.
How many times have we been to places and we've said, what happens here? And they said, well, I don't know. I don't see anything. Yet they're selling it as a haunted place. You know what I mean?
But they haven't got a clue.
No. But if you have a word with Fanny Ann, who works as secretary or something, she can tell you some of the stories or whatever. Or somebody else said they've seen something.
Yeah.
Or there's a rumour, or rather there's a story about whatever if it's an old place. But some people walk around like they've got their eyes closed.
Yes,
I'm sure there's people at Viscount's Craig and Offs that walk around there as if no ghosts are happening and what have you.
Yeah. Viscount's going to call in because he has a question for Andy.
Go on then. Come on then, Viscount. He's going to be on for a while anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Come on then, Mr. Viscount. Call away and we'll add you to the thing.
Yeah, at the road cost, apart from our monthly meetings, we used to do what we called a ghost and roast, didn't we?
Yes. Yeah.
Ghost and roast.
Yeah,
Yes.
we used to have a roast dinner and then we used to do the ghost hunt.
Yeah. When he first moved in, he was doing a carvery, so it was like a carvery, and then you'd have a ghost hunt afterwards.
Yeah, that's what we used to do. I actually sent myself a letter saying that I'd coined that phrase, and we also used to do ghost and toast as well, where we used to take toasters and do toast in the break.
Breakfast ghost, is it? A breakfast brunch meeting for toast ghosts?
So, but yeah, and I sent myself a, like you do personal copyright, isn't it? They're sitting here.
Basically, with a letter.
Yeah.
We actually posted a letter to ourselves.
Yes, so we've got them in my file somewhere.
Unopened.
So, but are you ringing now or are you ringing later, Viscount? And is it to do with ghosts?
And is it going to be Skype or on the phone?
I think it's going to be Skyped. So, if you could let us know.
Maybe Skibby.
Yeah. So, what did you think of what our guest had to say tonight?
Yes. While I'm on getting.
Yeah. I kind of lost the will to live after a while. Interesting, yes. Perhaps more detail of what he was talking about would be more interesting. Also, exactly what he did see on that flight. I mean, that was the one that sort of put to me when Sue was talking about it in the week. He's seeing something from an aeroplane and had been told to have to close the windows, but he didn't really say what it is he saw.
Yeah, he said he saw this solid metallic object, didn't he?
Yeah. Was it square? Was it round? Did it have wings? Light. Sue's vanished.
Why would maybe?
Yeah, you're getting drinks, aren't you? Oh, I see.
Yeah, she's away from the mic. She's got a drink.
The thing is, though, Andy, why would a captain of an aeroplane tell everyone to shut their shutters?
Because
something to go past.
Because he wouldn't want them to be scared.
Well, the first thing
he
I
wouldn't
would
want
think
panic
was a military
on the flight, would he?
Radioed by somebody to say that this is going to be passing nearby. We'd rather the people didn't look. But, people are going to look, aren't they? So it seems a silly thing to say. But that's the first thing I would think. Or possibly a military vehicle.
Yeah, I mean, when people, as soon as they say, can everybody shut the windows? You want to know why, don't
you? You know now what's going to do that. Very few of it.
Yeah. Well, Viscount hasn't come back, so I suppose we should move to our next.
Whether it be a near miss or whatever,
Yeah, I mean, that to me is the more likely that something that they'd rather the people didn't see went past, something like a military vehicle. But we can move on to my section if you like.
Yes, hold the line, please. Ladies and gentlemen, Andy Mercer, our conspiracy reporter.
Yay! Yes.
Off you go.
Well, here's the first one for tonight, which I've been sort of reading up a little bit about. So I've just put the link up, so I can put the button sent. There we go. Teignmouth, UFOs, more sightings of strange purple objects in the sky. This has been going on the last sort of week or so.
Hang up.
He's actually ringing.
Hello? Oh, you're ringing that way. I thought you were Skyping.
Oh, no, because we can't hear him.
Oh, he might not hear you.
No, I can't hear him.
Oh, well, you'll have to Skype then.
Oh, I can't hear nothing.
Okay, bye. He's phoning us back on Skype, so you'll have to wait now,
right.
Andy.
First spotted by a dog walker.
Yeah, but you can watch that for a few minutes.
So, right, people that can watch that for a few minutes.
Did you see that thing that someone's mashed up that I put on the KTPF? All the lights all coming down in from this big white blob.
No,
I mean, it was fake, but it was. It just looked interesting. You had this big white ball in the sky, and you had little white balls coming down from it, and then they were moving in formation.
It sounds rather good if it wasn't real.
Well, Ben Hansen, who's been on the show, he mentioned about it being fake.
Oh, right, okay. No, that one's escaped me, but this is. I found a few others of interest.
Right, we're just waiting for him to come back to us.
Well, I'll do the first bit then, shall I?
Well, go on then.
Carry on while we're waiting.
First spotted by a dog walker on Monday night, that was last Monday, the pulsating light was reported by many more people, but nobody seemed to be able to work out what it is. And there's a still from a bit of video footage which shows sort of a diamondy kind of shaped purple light. Interesting looking at itself because it's not your standard sort of circular, very, very out of focus light. It's got a bit of a shape to it.
Hello.
Interesting. More sightings of a UFO hovering over the northeast skies have been revealed. The suspected alien aircraft, spacecraft, was first captured on video, which is linked here, by a venture capitalist Greg Lother. 43-year-old from Tamath noticed the pulsating light in the sky and reached for his camera. He said, "I'm not out at night a lot walking the dog, so I've seen nothing like this I've never seen before." Sorry, my teeth are falling out. Since the footage went live on the Newcastle's Chronicle website, people from across the region have got in touch to share their experiences. Carl Finley from Brunswick Village, I thought Brunswick was in New Jersey, but apparently it's a Brunswick Village, has spotted the object in the night sky the very next night. He said, "It was Tuesday about 8:30. I was bringing my bins into the yard when I happened to notice these strange green objects in the sky. I managed to catch this on video." Well, now whether it's the same video or a different video, I don't know, because there's a video link above and beneath, and the object looks identical, but the guy says his was green. So
yeah, I think it's that shape because it's out of focus.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what's a little odd, because usually if you try videoing a star and zoom it right into digital, you'll get that kind of effect, but it's usually circular.
Yeah, yeah. I think we've seen them before, actually, just before the end of last year we saw them. Somebody mentioned about them, so, you know.
Well, another guy, Andrew Pinn, 32, from North Shields, was out having his backyard having a cigarette about 11:40 when he saw a white light in the sky that was flickering. Yes, he did not move, but it could not have been a star because it was too low. Now, how you can say that, I don't know, because a star can be on the horizon if you want it to be.
Yeah.
So that's that one. But then a few days later, my next link, which I should.
Well, Steve Graham's sitting there waiting for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm waiting, Andy. You take your time. It's not all about you, but we'll take your time.
This is my section. It's my section, so shut up.
Sorry, I do apologise. I will wait in the wings as always.
Okay.
This has got a follow-up, that's why. This one's got a follow-up to it, which I've just posted up.
Me.
Has the mystery of the Tamath UFO been solved? The Newcastle stargazer thinks he knows the answer. This is associated with the same Tyneside UFO.
Yeah.
That's quite a money. Alex O'Neill, originally from Newcastle, but now studying for his Masters in Astrophysics in Sheffield University. After viewing the UFO footage on the Chronicles website, he got in touch. He said, "The brightest star in the night sky is called Sirius, yes, which is often mistaken for a UFO because it's how bright it is and how low it is in the sky. Kind of fits. It's been twinkling or pulsating because the light passes through the atmosphere and becomes distorted. Viewing Sirius through a telescope can be very confusing because it appears to move and change in colour, but it's all a trick of the eye." Now, interestingly, I had a look myself this evening on the way back out to the bingo, and there it is. You can actually see it, Sirius, and it is fairly low down. It does look like it's twinkling. So I'm pretty sure that's what that one was. It is actually, at least the video footage, it probably is Sirius. Now, obviously, what the other people have seen, we don't know, because we don't know exactly what they saw. There's one guy said it was green, for example. Well, another guy, Paul Kerry, said it was a bright orange light that seems to be flying all the time. And it's near aircraft flight paths. He says it's definitely not a Chinese lantern, although a bright orange light sounds like a Chinese lantern. But its movement was too different. But he doesn't go on to say in what way it was different. But there we go. That's my first UFO bit. Well, I have more, but go on, Mr. Steve. What's your question?
This is, for me, to speak to you, sir, is like, well, I can't describe how it feels like. You're a god in your own right. Anyway, I won't big you up too much. Nobody likes you, only me, so let's get on with the question.
Go on, then.
Finished. This is not correct.
Go on, then.
What?
What's the question?
What's the question?
That's correct. You don't believe in demons, am I right, Andy?
Oh, right, yes, sorry, yes. No,
yeah,
definitely not.
This is me.
Typical demon, sorry, yes. Definitely not.
So, you've always said that demons don't exist.
Yes.
Stephen Hawking proved that God did not create the universe.
Oh, is he cutting out?
I don't know what he's doing. It sounds like he's cutting out a bit.
Can you hear me?
Go on.
You just disappear for a second.
Yeah, we think you're cutting out, Steve.
Try again, Steve.
Shall I try again or phone in maybe?
No, just carry on.
Okay. So Stephen Hawking has proved, in a sense, that God did not create the universe if you believe the concept of science. You agree with that, of course, Andy?
I would say so, yeah.
Which means no devil, possession itself doesn't exist, and some form of mental illness, psychotic episode based on that belief, yada, yada, yada. I'm sure you'll agree with that. However, you and I have a very similar interest in the concept of hypnosis and past life regression, yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
I had an experience, I can honestly tell you, it's very real, an experience only last week on an investigation to which I myself am struggling to understand the concept as to actually what happened. Very briefly, I was doing a sitting seance, which I do every single week. Usual stuff, people mess about, table tipping, yada, yada, yada. However, on this one occasion, I was with people greater in my years. They were in their early 60s, I would say. And they all sat there very silent. Now, this is why I'm asking you for your opinion. Mm-hmm. As I was sitting there, and we're doing a sitting seance, and I call upon the spirits within the fabric of this building, the spirits can hear my voice, yada, yada, yada. And as I did, I can honestly say that I watched a gentleman who sat right in front of me, who was staring at me, which made me feel quite uncomfortable, if I'm totally honest. And I watched his face. Now, this is all done, it wasn't done under candlelight, it was not done under, it was a normal room with normal lights. Yeah, we're in a castle for the Holland, but it was all done right in front of my face, and I watched this gentleman grow a moustache, a pencil moustache, directly in front of my very eyes. And he said to me, which freaked the shit, sorry, can't say that, which freaked me out a little bit, he said, "And now you've seen it, boy. Learn from it." Now, the whole way through that tour, I was totally at unease. I was not comfortable at all. And this guy, I believe, was so, in his presence, I was so negative. When I say negative, I can't describe how, I cannot put in words, Andy, how I actually felt, but the negativity that I felt from this guy, and I thought, this guy's not human. He didn't feel normal to me, right? And it's generally true, he did not feel 100% to me. And I know you don't believe the concept of the demons or negative energies, and I know you don't believe the concept of that, but this guy for me, and I've been doing this for a long, long time, this guy, when I seen that appear in front of my eyes, Andy, I'm not joking, it was like, what the FTF, you know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
So what do you make of that? How is that possible that I watched a person directly in front of me produce a pencil? None of the old, like, you won't remember them, obviously, not old enough, but the pencil moustaches way back in the 40s or 50s, whatever it was. Yeah. What is your concept of that? How could that have been possible?
Well, let me tell you a story that's a very true story. An investigation I was actually present at in Winchester Mansion, down in the cellar. There was,
I know Winchester very well, yeah.
It's an amazing place. It's definitely got a very strong atmosphere to it. There was a person sitting on a chair in the middle of the seance circle, and 6 different people described that person's physical appearance change. They said the person became much slimmer and had much longer hair. The person sitting in the middle of the chair was me. So I've had it happen to me.
And your ball is cooked?
Yep. Absolutely real. I mean, I was experiencing a connection with something. I could feel it quite strong around me, and I could feel and hear something speaking to me. But to say 6 different people described very similar appearance change in me. Now, it wasn't me deliberately doing that, and as far as I was concerned, I didn't change at all. but I have seen it almost from the inside, if you like. So, but yeah, I've certainly seen other people on investigations. Again, okay, on low lights.
So would you say it was demonic in any form?
I don't know. The actual, it's quite a long story, really, the Woodchester stuff. But we think it's one of the presences that are occupant at Woodchester. Now, they are, if they exist, they are human, but they are somewhat unpleasant. Now, I've also, as you probably realise, been involved in the occult for a number of years.
Oh, of course. That's hence the reason I'm asking you for your expertise.
Well, been involved in organisations and met different people, and you get a sense of palpable evil from some people who've been practising, shall we say, the left-hand path of darker arts, shall we say, for a number of years. They do build a persona that you can sense, you can feel on them, that you know that they're involved in unpleasant stuff.
So therefore, could that be a demon in a form?
Only in the psychological sense, I would say.
Not in the physical?
I don't think so, no. I think a person has become, just their aura gets darker and blacker because of what they've been involved in. They've been experimented with, I mean, I'm trying to avoid the terms, it all sounds so Harry Potter-like, but sort of darker energy, if you like. But it's all neutral. This energy, if you like, is neutral. It's what we do with it and how we make use of it. Now, the idea would be someone who's practicing darker magic would be trying to manipulate energy around them for their own benefit.
But therefore, surely, sorry, I have to apologise, Andy, but therefore, Andy, if you believe that demons aren't real, and you talked about energy, you talked about energy in a great deal. Therefore, if energy itself can be manipulated to go from a positive to a negative, who's in control of that energy? And if you're saying that we're in control of that energy, then therefore that energy in itself, our perception is being manipulated by others around us for our persona, in the sense of we think of demons, we think of gargoyles, yada yada yada. Therefore, the negative energies to which we give out are based upon that same concept. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Oh no, it doesn't make sense what you're saying. I mean, I like to think of it this way. If you imagine this energy you're talking about, if you imagine it's like electricity.
Yeah.
You use electricity to power up a baby monitor to keep a baby alive in a hospital. But that self-same electricity could be then used to electrocute someone and kill them. The energy itself is the same energy. It's being used and manipulated in different ways. And I think for some people who, I've known people who come under the category, not even of Satanists, but even darker than that. Because a Satanist, if you look at sort of Church of Satan, Anton LaVey's ideas, it's not really satanic evil. It's like as an inversion of Christianity, but in terms of you enjoy yourself and stuff. But there are darker ways of being than that. Because if you look at it, there's three possible ways you can look at this kind of energy manipulation. If you're doing it for positive, good things for everybody and yourself, you manipulate energy for your own benefit, nobody else's, but no one else is affected by it, or you're doing it to deliberately affect negatively other people. And some of the people I've known over the years come in that third category of deliberately trying to affect other people negatively. And I think there is a kind of a payback. You start to infect your own sense of self.
But that's the sort of okay.
Yeah, but it's still within the person's own psyche. There's nothing independently existing. And that's where I probably draw the line is conventional concepts of demons and devils, etc., is that these are actual living, or non-living, or post-living entities that have a separate reality of existence outside us. Where I would say
thank you. That answer in itself has sort of helped me understand as to how and why it happened. So I truly appreciate that, because as I say, your knowledge is more greater than mine in the concept of.
And gentlemen.
Well, good versus evil, yada yada yada. Yeah. But I truly appreciate your comments, and I will take that on board and dissect my own hypothesis from that.
Sure.
Gentlemen.
Who are sort of what you might call a psychic or emotional vampires that can suck the life out of you. You can start talking to them, and then you think, oh my God, they're not boring me. They're just like, they're draining me. When you talk to them, you meet people like that, and there are ways in which you can actually use.
And that's what happened. That's exactly what happened.
It was ritual can use to create that effect. I mean, I've got stuff on the shelves over here, you know. We're talking about old-fashioned sort of folk magic that can have that kind of effect if it's done the right way.
So there are people, you agree then, you do believe that there are people that still have, or are still, I don't know, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but there are people still out there that have that natural ability to suck the energy from another person.
Absolutely, and some people know they're doing it. Some people don't know they're doing it. But I mean,
that's the question. You've hit the question on the head there. Do they know they're doing this deliberately, or is it just a natural aura and energy? And I use the word aura and energy to say that are they actually doing that in a sense of drawing from my energy? Because when I do my tours, I'm very positive. I give 100% vibes. I put 100% in. And are they drawing of this energy to manipulate themselves to the form to which I witnessed with my own eyes, back to an era of an individual person they might couldn't even recognize?
Yeah. No, for me, I think it's a kind of a thought projection is what you're seeing there. I mean, I don't think for a moment I sat in that circle and physically actually changed, but there was some kind of thought projection going on of these other women. It was all women, funny enough, who were picking up on. And that's doing the same kind of thing. You're picking up a vibe that person's sending out there, whether it's deliberate or it's just who they are as a person. That's a difficult one to answer about actually speaking to or knowing the person myself.
Gentlemen!
Sorry.
Thank you.
Is that time?
It's about 4 times I've said gentlemen.
Excuse me, guys.
Right. First of all, Stephen Hawking didn't come up and said that God didn't do it. What he said was is that the Big Bang Theory happened. He didn't say that God didn't initialize it.
Okay.
First of all, second of all, what you saw could just as easily have been an overlay of a spirit.
Well, that's what happened to me.
Can you elaborate? Sorry, Steve, a little bit.
Can you elaborate?
Well, sometimes when spirits come close, the likes of Andy and myself, and probably yourself, we can stop spirit from actually coming that close that it affects us.
Yes, of course you can.
But obviously, members of the public are not used to that, so it could quite easily have been a spirit that was overlaying what we would say will be trying to channel through this gentleman. So you'd be seeing what the spirit looked like overlaying the gentleman's face.
A bit like scrying.
It was. I can honestly tell you this. It was for me. In all the years I've been doing this, it freaked me out. It was like I watched this guy and he materialized. He had a pencil moustache. Oh, he didn't have a pencil moustache at the time. And I'm thinking, wow. And his attitude came from being a hospitable and loving, kind guy to someone who was just, as Andy says, sucking the life out of me.
Yeah.
He really did. I felt so, at the end of the tour, I felt so negative, disparaging, disrespectful. In fact, I felt so emotional, I wanted to cry. It was like, I'm not worthy. You know what I mean? It's like, how did this occur? And that's why I asked about the concept of demonology in itself. Is it possible that energies come through in a demonic form? And which Andy has quite categorically stated that it may not be actually a demon, and it has elaborated as to what it may or could have been. And I'm very grateful for that. So thank you for allowing me to share that small experience. But I'm thankful for the opportunity. I'm thankful for Andy for his input in relation to this matter. But thank you, Steve, as well. I appreciate where you're coming from as well. I get where you're coming from.
It's a possibility.
Of course. And this is the whole concept of the paranormal. The whole concept of the paranormal is it's personal, and I've said this for years, it's personal perception. Individuals' experiences, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and depending upon that knowledge, it's dependent upon how far you actually take the concept of the paranormal, in the sense of in the sense of ghosts and spirits themselves. You have 4 people in a room, as Andy just said. People have witnessed things in 5 people in a room, but each person may see like a ghost appearing, a ghost taking off its coat, then taking off its shoes and handbag or whatever. But each person may not see that individual perspective, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's. I think it's also that a case of what we're used to seeing. If we've been doing it many years, so we've seen these things on more than one occasion. So so from us now, we become attuned to seeing that. But
this is the first time I can honestly say I have, during an experiment, experienced such a thing.
You're starting to see more. I think that's what Steve's saying. The normal stuff is like nothing to worry about because you've seen it, you've been there, you've done that. It's like the orb theory, you know. It's pen a penny.
It's like the people that believe that we have guides. You could just as easily say that your guide said and said, right, it's time you saw more.
Yeah.
So deal with that.
Okay, well, I'll take that on board, and thank you for that perception.
Yeah.
I will certainly take that on board, and I'm truly grateful for an opportunity to share my experience. And thank you, Andy. I truly respect your views, and Steve as well. I truly respect your views and opinions.
Yeah, you're welcome, mate.
So thank you for that. I'm going to take that on board, and I'm going to dissect that for the next hour now in my head.
Yeah.
If I'm honest.
These feelings that you got, could it possibly be that they were, even though you were seeing with your own eyes this person change to another person,
yeah.
could these feelings that you've had be the feelings that they were putting on you of the way they were feeling as well?
Well, that's the whole thing. I don't genuinely. I can also say, I've been doing this for a very long time, many years.
Empathic.
And it's the first time I ever personally experienced someone sitting in front of me. I watched them grow a pencil moustache, and then I felt so disparaging, so disrespectful. I had I wouldn't say the word hatred, but I didn't like the people I was with.
Yeah.
And I felt so negative, but I felt emotional.
Yeah.
And I don't get emotional. I don't do emotion.
I feel, to be honest with you, something's telling me that you were seeing the person but feeling his feelings, as if to say, I don't want this here, I don't want these people here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
whatever he was feeling at the time. Yeah,
I get where you're coming from, and I truly appreciate you allowing me to come on your show and just briefly share that.
Yeah.
Because for me, it was scary. For me, it was, because after the tour, and I spoke to, as you know, Gary, who comes on with me.
Yeah.
Gary, I said to Gary, I got to go home, Gary. I don't want to be here. I've just got to, and as much as you guys know, I love Craiganoss, but I didn't want to be there. I had to get out, and I had to go home, and I felt so emotional.
Yeah.
I felt totally drained, which is the first time in many years that I felt this, and I thought, is this demonic? And then when Andy was, and I thought Andy was on, hey, I know a guy who knows the answers to all these questions. Hey,
you'll have to let us know if you start to see things more often.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope that's maybe, as you say, a development thing for me, or maybe some sort of an eye-opening episode. And maybe I should look at these aspects of the tours in more in-depth detail and take on board. I'm definitely going to take on board what Andy has said, without a doubt, and yourself, Stephen. Without a doubt. I'm truly privileged to what I experienced.
Yeah.
But the people themselves didn't, and this is what freaks me out. The following morning, when I went with breakfast with them, as you know, I have breakfast there every day, that's why I'm so fat. But when I went the following morning, and I had breakfast with these people, this guy was so nice and so loving and caring and respectful. I thought, this is not the same guy I met last night.
Yeah.
It was a totally different person.
Yeah.
And I thought, is it because we're doing seances? Am I doing something wrong? Have I opened a door? And I don't mean doors to hell and all that shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
but does that make sense to anybody? I'm just like, I don't know what I did that changed the whole perception of what occurred.
There's a possibility there, though, Steve, that is worth mentioning at least. You could be dealing with someone who's got a split personality.
Yeah.
That it's a secondary personality emerging that you're seeing that is that different, that your whole sense of that person is completely different, like it is another person. And the personality switches back to the other one that you had met previously, the friendlier person. Almost Jekyll and Hyde like, although of course Jekyll and Hyde is a myth and you can't change by will, but the idea of separate personalities will occupying the same person and being fundamentally different, it's certainly possible.
Mm-hmm.
I truly appreciate your thoughts and views and this opinion. Honestly, guys, it means a lot to me, because like I said, it's been bothering me for days now. I'm thinking, how could this possibly happen? And now that you've said that, Andy, I'm thinking,
Following on from what Andy said there, when you were doing your seance, you were asking these people to relax, to open their mind.
Of course, that's exactly what you do, of course.
So that would allow if he had one, what Andy, his other personalities to come through.
Oh, without getting into, could that be, and you're rocking my world now.
because obviously in his normal life, when he's doing his day-to-day stuff, his own being prevents it from coming through.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, and I appreciate that. So therefore, finally, wrapping us all up before getting into depth and be here all night, but is it, so therefore, was it the individual person, or was it the fabric of the building So when I'm doing my seance, like, let me elaborate a little bit. So I'm doing my thing in behind the theatre. I'm doing my thing. This guy does his thing with the moustache appears. Was the fabric of the building in a sense, attaching themselves to that individual person, or was that person bringing through a different type of energy which I'd never experienced before? Does that sort of make sense? So I'm normally used to the fabric of the building doing its normal thing, but for this guy to make that transition, shall we say, from one person to another, was it the building itself reacting, or was it the individual?
That's a very good question, and it's impossible to know the answer, because it could be that it's something that's in the building, it could be that it is within him.
That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing, Andy. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to
the key be is if you saw that manifestation in that same person somewhere else, then you'd know it was in them and not the building. Or alternatively, you see that manifestation again in the building with somebody else, then you'll know it's the building.
Yeah.
So you need to see it on the place.
Yeah. Also, just because you were doing a seance, you wouldn't necessarily just get spirits from the building. If there was a spirit that wanted to come through for some reason, it could just come through, and like I said in the first place, just have overlaid the gentleman. But because you've been doing it for so long, whether you realise or not, you become sensitive to the fact that spirits are about.
Oh, that's definite. Yeah. The more you do these things, the more
of course. And that's a given. That's a given.
And the feelings you were getting were probably you were just sensing the way the spirit felt at the time.
Which is what I was saying.
Which is what Sue said.
Yeah, but I'm sorry for taking up your time here. But what I'm saying is, I get what you're saying, and I've been at the castle since 2002. Yeah, and I have never experienced that before. So in all these years, that has never occurred. Then all of a sudden, but random by chance, this one event happens on this one night. And I'm trying to think, either A, did I do something in this seance that caused an individual to come through, or B, did I do something within the fabric of the building that caused the building to open up its doors, residually or whatever it may be, to allow another energy to give it manifest itself in its natural form? Does that sort of make sense, or am I getting confused?
Yes, it makes perfect sense.
I mean, like Andy said, you're not really going to know, because unless you've got everything exactly the same in the same place again with the same people, you're not going to know, because it could be something that happened just on that particular night in history that's come through from the building.
Yeah,
it could be the individual people that were there at the time that's caused it to happen. There's so many variations that.
Well, I'm currently researching.
That you're never going to know for sure.
Yeah, well, I'm thank you for that. Actually, I'm currently researching every document bit of history that occurred within the last week, going back to 1784 when the castle was, 1834 when the castle was first built. I'm now trying to ascertain as to what may have occurred in this previous week. So I am taking on board what you guys says. I'm sorry for taking up so much of your time. I do apologise.
No, that's fine. That's what we're here for.
Show's full.
You know, Andy, you're a diamond. I love your views and opinions. I've always liked you. Heaven knows why nobody else does. But I like your views and opinions. I like your views and opinions. I know you're a straight talking guy. Steve, you're a straight talking guy as well. So I'm going to take that on board. I'm going to dissect that for the next hour, I think, in my own head. And hopefully we'll get back to this and another debate at another time.
Excuse me, what about me?
Oh, thanks, Susie. There. Okay, put the kettle on. Steve needs a brew.
Right, I'm going to let you go then, Steve.
Okay.
Oh, it's gone again.
He went quick.
Chopped off. Yeah,
chopped off.
Appreciate you.
Oh, man.
Say it again.
Bye.
Bye.
See you, Stevie.
Excellent stuff.
Well, that was...
Well, it's very much what the show's about, isn't it? Ring in and tell us what you're experiencing. What we asked for has happened, which is very good.
Yes,
it is good.
Definitely.
But I mean, like I said, there's so many variations that could be what happened there.
Absolutely. I mean,
well, this is what tonight's show was about: personal experiences.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So,
I mean, it may never happen again because it needed those particular people there at that
Yeah,
particular time.
It could easily be that is something that is intrinsic to the building or within the person, but certain circumstances have to be exactly in place for that kind of thing to occur. I mean, as you know, I did sort of mediumship work for Fright Nights for absolutely years, and I've only ever had the 2 occasions where I have apparently physically changed. That was one. Another one, again, was Woodchester, where my head vanished, which was quite interesting. When I was at the front of a group of people as the medium, facing away from them, they said, you seem to lift off the ground and your head vanished, which I thought was quite interesting.
Yeah, we did the boar's head, wasn't it? I think it was.
Yes.
And we had James, another medium, with us for the night, for the charity. And we picked out a ticket, didn't we?
Yeah.
For people to go down in the cellar area, and there would one person just go down there with James, and James actually said that Kat, who's now a member of our team, that her face just melted in front of him.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Oh
Yeah.
dear.
So
Not really that sort of thing. That's rather disturbing.
yeah, she don't like cellars either.
No, she's not keen on cellars at all.
Right, let's get back to these UFOs.
Yes, certainly. Yes. Okay. My next story comes from
And NASA's conspiracy reports.
good old NASA. UFOs spotted. Here we go. You missed your UFO spotted in the International Space Station, no less. Again, this is in the last few days, on the 16th of January. A UFO was spotted near the International Space Station in footage broadcast after astronauts evacuated part of the orbiting craft. Now, I remember that being on the news last week about a problem in part of the craft. Alien spotters noticed a strange object appear behind the ISS, reigniting bizarre claims that the space station is actually a place for aliens to come and hang out with humans. Footage of the UFO was shown on CBS News, sparking furious debate among online conspiracy nuts. I wonder if that includes me. Am I a conspiracy nut?
Yeah.
It was clear whether It was not clear whether the film was stock footage or was taken from NASA's live feed. The video footage is there, but if you scroll down a bit, they've got like a 2 or 3 second, 2 or 3 framed version of it. Some claimed it showed a UFO entering Earth's atmosphere, whilst others speculated the ET's friends in the emergency services that might be there to lend a hand with the evacuating astronauts. Stargazers are forever spotting strange objects near the ISS, although they're often explained as space debris. NASA has been accused of covering up the existence of aliens with conspiracy theories, claiming that cuts and live video streams whenever a strange craft floats into view. Basically, when you can look at it, it could easily be a piece of ice or water moisture near the camera, because it unfortunately doesn't pass behind the space station, which if it did would be very helpful. So you can't really get a sense of whether it's a large object close up or a small object close up or a large one further away. But interestingly, the bit they say here about NASA has been accused of covering up the existence of aliens with conspiracy theorists claiming cuts to live video streams whenever a strange craft appears in view. What makes that interesting was my next one.
Andy, before you go, Andy, on that first video, the one at the top, right at the beginning, it does just start to go behind the space station.
Oh, okay, let me have a look.
If you have a quick look, right at the beginning, they stop it before that, later on, but the very first one, it just goes behind.
Right, because it's only 30 seconds long. The good old Daily Mirror. Oh, yes, I see what you're saying. Oh, yes, it definitely does.
It does just start, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is underneath it. It's between us. Well, that probably rules out the idea of being moisture or ice crystals, because they have to be very close to the camera.
Yeah.
So, yeah, right.
When they slow it down, you can actually see it going behind.
Yeah, it's the lighting.
It's about 5 seconds in, isn't it?
The other thing I noticed was the lighting is consistent with the space station itself. It appears to be lit from that side, because that's often can be a problem with the UFO. If the lighting is inconsistent with the rest of the craft. But the reason I was mentioning also that last bit is the very same thing happened this week as well, with live video feeds suddenly being cut off. Let me just put the link up for you. It's the one. So Vikat's asking which link it is. It's the one just above where we've been typing. Well, Shadow, you're welcome, mate. That's the first one. Second one I've just put up is exactly that. It's NASA cuts live video feed as UFO appears to rise over Earth's horizon, as seen from the space station again. The UFO was caught by a NASA video feed streamed live from the International Space Station on January the 15th, so the same day. But as soon as the mysterious grey object is seen rising over Earth's horizon, the feed is suddenly cut to black. Coincidence? UFO researchers think not. The video was taken from a high-definition camera mounted outside the space station as part of NASA's experiment on gathering HD images from space. If you watch the video footage, which you can do, or if you scroll down a little bit to where I'm reading from, you can see a close-up of the far distant object. Now, clearly it was coming up from the horizon, but one could argue that it's approximately the same kind of shape as the other one that was videoed. As soon as the video above, as posted on the YouTube archivists Street Cap 1, the clear shot of a distant but distinct object which appears to come over into view about the same level as the space station's 275-mile high orbit. It is quickly replaced by a message informing viewers that the NASA high-definition Earth blah 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 has experienced some technical difficulties and cuts off. Granted, even with today's highly sophisticated technology, streaming live video from space is not a perfect endeavour, with glitches and outages not unexpected. But UFO watchers say this is not. I can't speak tonight. Sorry. UFO watchers say that this one is not the first instance of NASA suddenly dumping video feed moments after a UFO appears on screen. In fact, earlier this week, a blogger claimed to have spotted a giant UFO in the NASA feed shortly before the camera dipped. And if you click on the red text, you can actually see that same claim, although it doesn't appear to be any footage. Well, there is, but it's extremely strange footage. Where's it gone? There we go. So if you click on the claim to have spotted, the red writing, it takes you to another link to what looks like a very strange object. Have you found it?
Yeah. Steve's found it.
Yeah, I see that.
Unfortunately, you got a very annoying piece of music. It's a couple of minutes long, but this appears to be the image of an image on someone's laptop, so it's a little dubious as to say whether it's real or not. Because it's not even the original footage, it's footage of footage. But that one was quite interesting. So the object that appears in that one is completely different to anything else we've actually looked at. You see, it's like a upside down. It reminds a little bit of the old Star Trek logo, actually. In fact, in the rebooted films, you see the logo appears in space. It looks a bit like that. Now, what on earth that thing is in the video feed, I don't know. But because it's a video of a video, it could be anything. So. Yeah. But the fact that you've got those two instances directly live fed, or direct feeds from the space station, same day, showing what could arguably be the same shaped object, I thought was very interesting. So there we go. One more little story. Okay. I'm just going to stick it. Actually, a couple more stories, but this is another UFO type.
Yeah, on that one you were just saying, the Viscount said, in fact, it looks like a moon or something similar.
Exactly. Incidentally, I was reading something I've heard on the radio this week about the fact that our moon might not be a moon at all. It might actually be a planet.
Oh, yeah.
When they've looked at the way they've recategorized planets, which is why Pluto for a little while was no longer seen as a planet, because it didn't meet the criteria of what a planet's supposed to look like. The interesting thing was, our moon does meet the criteria of what a planet's supposed to be like. So our moon is actually a planet. This is quite interesting. But there we go, that's a sweet side story. Anyway, here's the next one from me. Okay. So I was beginning by.
Where is it?
It's just coming up.
Here we go.
Stealth UFO mothership twice the size of Earth blasts out of the sun, ufologists claim. Now, the Inquisitor is not the most serious of magazines or websites, but yes, I thought it looked interesting. UFO hunters are claiming an unusual type of solar UFO sighting this week. According to the UFO Sightings Daily's Scott Ware, the UFO was detected on the Helio viewer, which is a camera that does do close-up views of the sun. On January the 18th, the dark but massive UFO, about twice Earth size, was sighted exiting the solar atmosphere. Now, the solar atmosphere is approximately 40,000 degrees, so what the hell could be actually in the atmosphere of the sun that could survive that heat? I don't know that, but yeah, the UFO Daily sighting notes an ordinary one would expect any UFO that approaches the sun to have heated up in glowing brightness. One can assume, therefore, that this unusual type of UFO is equipped with some super efficient cooling system, or probably a high-tech system that camouflages its heat radiation. so the unwary observers aren't able to see the UFO. Now, if you look at it, it could be anything. I mean, it could just be lighting. It's just not wholly convincing. It's this darkish shadow. In fact, it looks like a bit. The picture of the large sun with the object itself quite small looks like a nose sort of sticking out.
Yeah, because they keep trying to highlight it, don't they?
Yeah, but no, I'm not convinced with that one at all. But this mothership twice the size of the Earth. I mean, can you imagine how big that spaceship would be? The size of the Earth. Well, that was an interesting one. One more, which I think is quite important, is this.
Okay.
Coming up. The sun might be a star. Well, maybe. There's just a star, that's a definite. Yes, here we go. We have.
I think that's to his post that he's put on there from YouTube. I'm not sure.
And there we go. From Air Force Times. This comes. Air Force UFO files hit the web. The fabled Project Blue Book. The Air Force's files on UFO sightings investigations have tantalized and frustrated extraterrestrial enthusiasts for decades. But this week, nearly 130,000 pages of declassified UFO records, a trove that would have made Agent Fox Mulder's mouthwater, hit the web. UFO enthusiast John Greenwald spent nearly 2 decades filing Freedom of Information Act requests for government files on UFOs and other phenomena. On January the 12th, Greenwald posted the Blue Book files, as well as the files of Blue Book's 1940s era, Project Sign and Project Grudge, on his database of the Black Vault. So someone has actually managed to get hold of, through the Freedom of Information Act, the Blue Book files, 130,000 pages of them.
Wow.
So we would actually have a look. So I went to the Black Vault page and couldn't find them.
Not there.
Lots of pages, lots of information, but actually, no, there they are. I've just found them.
All right.
Collection, 130,000 pages, 10,000 plus case files.
That's a lot of reading.
It includes lots of photographs that we've seen before. But here it is. I'll put the link up in a sec when it works, because it's very slow for some reason. There we go. And then here is the link to...
Viscount said 130,000. Are you real? What does that tell you? Something must be real.
They did a lot of investigations, that's for certain. Here we go. There's the Black Vault link to Blue Book files. So you can actually sign up and peruse yourself. He's finally got access to them. So I couldn't find them earlier, but they seem to be there now.
I like the way it says browse by year.
Yes. Keep you busy, won't it? There we go. That is the UFOs.
There's one for Dave.
Yes, absolutely, Dave. You want to go look at that, Mr. Lloyd? Have a look at that one.
So is that your last one?
Not quite. And finally, as before, with my CGI UFO classics, which I think are either dreadfully wonderful. This is one of my favourite I've seen this week. I was very impressed by this, and if I actually saw this for real, I would be very happy. It's only a short clip, as it always are.
The YouTube one.
Here we go.
This video does not exist.
Good Lord.
Someone's taken the video down.
Oh dear.
Can you see it? It's been removed. That's interesting. It was there a couple of days ago.
An error occurred during validation.
Yeah. Blimey, it disappeared. Oh, now there's a conspiracy for you.
well, tell us about it anyway. It's difficult without the video.
In a car, driving along, it was like sort of early evening, sun beginning to set. And this very detailed UFO sort of flies overhead and swings round behind them and whizzes off into the distance. But it did look very good. They'd done an awful lot of work, good high-resolution CGI effect, and I was very impressed by it. It wasn't silly, it was good, and the sort of thing, if it were real, then it would be quite spectacular. But it looks like it might be actually real. And the Illuminati authority took it off and hidden it from us, which is a real shame.
Or maybe it was real and the government's taken it off.
Yeah.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. The Illuminati, they're in there, they've got in there, they've nicked it.
Yeah.
Or as someone, I saw a post in the week, was just cruising around for information, which was hilarious. There was someone having a go at something called the Illuminate. And apparently Illuminate are an American lighting company, and they eventually put back on this person's Twitter feed, you said, we're a lighting company, we're not the Illuminati. So things about it was the wrong people. One last post, which is a slightly different subject, which I just wanted to put up. from my other interest of occult and folklore magic, this chap by the name of Peter Paddon. Unfortunately passed away last year, towards the end of the year. I didn't know until last week, because his obituary appeared in a magazine called The Cauldron, which I subscribed to. Pete's from the UK, but spent the last few years working and recording podcasts in America.
Not that old,
Oh,
are
wow. I know, exactly. So he just turned 50. And some of the podcasts are very good. I mean, he describes himself as being a modern cunning man, but to be perfectly frank, I've read his books, and he's more your kind of Wiccan, witchcrafty type person. But all good for him to go out to the States and sort of spread the word, as it were, of his Welsh ancestry. And I was quite sad to hear he passed away. As I say, quite young, suffered a major heart attack, but unfortunately didn't recover. But yes, the second heart attack, his first one was in 2012, which he did recover from. But yeah, so it was just a slightly sad point to end my little sectional.
Okay.
But yeah, Peter Paddon passed away at the age of just 50.
Well, we send our condolences to his family.
Mm.
And that was the end of Andy Mercer's Conspiracy Reports.
Thank you.
I would give you a little bit of thingy there. So, but don't go away, Andy, because we need you back in a moment.
I want to quickly come back to something that David Lloyd mentioned earlier on.
Yeah.
Listen to the conversation. I actually watched the video footage. This is Eisenhower's granddaughter was approached to be involved in a future possible project of possible colonization of Mars later on. She wasn't asked to join an already existing colony, which I'm afraid, Dave, you gave the impression she was. She was asked about possibly joining a future one. So, David, come on now. Let's get those facts straight.
Okay. Well, don't go away, Andy, because we need you back in a moment, all right? We're just going to do our events for this week. Well, this week's advertising for the events. So we'll speak to you in a moment, okay?
Oh, and Dave, I'm watching your clip.
Fed up with wading. You're watching the clip.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is what he's posted up a clip for me, so I'm watching it.
Okay. See you in a bit.
Yeah.
Fed up of wading through the activities and events that other advertisers include? Find just what you're looking for at paranormaleventsforyou.com, your one-stop paranormal directory. Well, don't forget, Tony Stockwell's still doing his tour of the UK, so check out his website for details. On the 24th of Jan, Newsham Park Orphanage, there's a taster session in the afternoon with Into the Shadows Paranormal. They're doing a few of these. They're also doing one in February for Pendle Hill on the 28th of February. Back to the beginning of February, though, Heskin Hall Into the Shadows are doing an event there in the evening on the 7th. The Spode Factory, Stoke, the first and last, probably, well, not about the first, but the last ever investigation at the Spode Factory with UK Shadow Seekers Paranormal.
It's the first for the Shadow Seekers, isn't it?
Yes, and that's on the 14th of Feb. On the 28th of Feb, as I mentioned, the taster session at Pendle Hill Hall with Into the Shadows, and the 28th of February, Trident Paranormal are at Chambercombe Manor, North Devon, and every Friday there's a mediumship night at Earth Angels, Lunseys Road, Basildon. For more details on these and other events, visit paranormaleventsforyou.com. Paranormaleventsforyou.com also offers banner advertising for only £10 per year. See our website for more details. Paranormaleventsforyou.com, your one-stop paranormal directory. See what's that? See what's that? Right. So.
Have you done?
Yeah. Bear with me.
I've put that link on for the Viscount.
Yeah. No, not that's not Into the Shadows. You wanted Into the Shadows, not Shadow Seekers.
Well, I'm not giving it. I'm giving our one instead.
Bear with me, and I'll give it to you.
I'll find it for you.
It's all right. I've got it. Well, I haven't got it here, so I'll let you find it then. Anyway, are you still with us, Andy?
I certainly am, indeed.
Right.
I just watched
what?
I just watched the video link that Dave Lloyd put up, and it is actually quite fascinating. Again, it's a NASA clip. You can see part of the space station in the foreground, and there is a light that moves horizontally across the screen and is pulsating, and then suddenly turns 90 degrees and heads straight up. And you can see that the pod of the space station is in view, so you know it's not the camera churning direction. Whatever it was has definitely changed direction, so that's impressive.
Well, we will be Andy will be doing his conspiracy reports
Yes.
mainly every week. I'm assuming he'll be doing them next week as well. We just want to let you know we'd like to thank you for being with us this evening, and to let you know what's on next week. But I'm going to hand you over back to Andy to tell us more. Andy, what's happening next week?
It's me again, you lucky people.
You're lucky people.
I think
you have to find out. Go on, Ron, is the shadows.
Sorry, say that again, Andy. Go on, because you were spoken over by Steve.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just saying a few weeks ago, yes, it is all about me, Viscount, shut up. Had a guest drop out, so I did a little skit on Jack the Ripper. What we're going to do next week is we're going to recover the stuff we talked about a bit, about the Ripper, the story, but I'm going to go into some of the more unusual conspiracy-type theories and theorising about the identity of the Jack the Ripper, who it actually was, because, believe it or not, there was one or two quite wacky theories out there we kind of touched upon last time, but I thought I'd go into a bit more detail of what I would say was probably the 10 craziest theories that I've come across, including one that I thought I'd made up, only to discover that it actually exists as a theory, so that's quite disturbing, really. So it's all sorts of conspiracies, black magic rituals, time travelers, supernatural beings, all that kind of stuff involved in supposed identity of Jack the Ripper. So that will be what we'll be talking about next week. So I'll go into the details of the basics of the case, in case you're not familiar with it, but we then look at more outlandish theories. But I also have my UFO update, as always. My conspiracy stuff will be there as well.
So there you have it. That's what's happening next week.
Interesting.
Yes. So, what do you think to that then, Steve?
I like Jack the Ripper. I like hearing all the different theories of what it could be. It's a very interesting subject, especially as it was here in the UK.
Oh, indeed, where I used to live at one point.
And not in the bloody USA, like it normally is.
Well, the interesting thing also with the Ripper story itself is up until the 1970s, there wasn't that much interest. It was only when one of the theories I'm going to talk about came into the public domain that it started to get real publicity, because it is actually outlandish, but it was because of the people that were mentioned as being involved. It does catches the imagination quite in a major way. So
yeah, I know at least one person that would be very up to believing that it was to do with royalty.
And who would that be?
I cannot say.
Why can you not say?
Not on air.
Not on air.
There's too many conspiracies, I'll tell you. It's like, your mate then, who was on this a little while ago, said about him and his friends working on some kind of ghost thing that he can't talk about. I get really fed up with hearing that. I really do. If you're going to talk about it, talk about it. If you're not, shut up!
I will mention after the show, but I wouldn't want to cast aspersions on air. That wouldn't be nice. It wouldn't be friendly.
No.
I mean, I've put forward, as you know, my conclusion, my belief, if you like, the identity of the Ripper, which I will go over again, and I'm quite certain of. Although, I think any lawyer would tell you there's not enough evidence to prosecute anybody anymore, not at this distance, not this age, and there's more than enough. Most of the evidence we have, if you like, is circumstantial and no more than that. It's just that when you look at the case itself, the kind of crimes that were carried out, it is quite easy to put together a picture of the kind of person who would have perpetrated them. And it stands up when you compare any murders of the similar kind, and there have been similar murders, the kind of person who's carried them out fits the criteria. So. Yeah. But we'll talk about some of it.
There was all sorts of people mentioned that we could go into, isn't there? I mean, you've got the royalty action, you've got a butcher, a doctor, the Jews, the Polish, H.H. Holmes.
Yes.
There was quite a few different possible suspects if you want to go into them all.
So, very much so. But I don't want to sort of preempt myself next week. One of the biggest problems that these other people always have is they try to then find a legitimate, understandable, conventional motive for these people to carry out these kind of acts. But these sorts of murders are not carried out by people with conventional motives. This is psychopath work. This is insanity in its broadest sense. Similarly, there is the problem. These kind of murders are carried out by a person who will not stop killing unless something stops them.
Yeah.
So any theory that involves anybody who then goes on to have any kind of, quote, normal life post the murders, it's just impossible. It just doesn't happen that way. Even throughout history, I can't think of one possible exception of any kind of serial killer who has stopped killing and just gone away and not harmed anybody else. It just doesn't happen.
No. Well, thank you for letting us know about that, Andy. And we'll look forward to speaking to you at 8:30 next week.
Yep, I won't be at the bingo.
No. No, I think they might moan at you if you was.
Well, yes, it wouldn't have gone down too well.
So, and as I say, Andy will be with us every week as usual, but now with these new conspiracy reports as well. So he'll be joining us for them as well when he's available.
And don't forget, guys out there, just like Steve who come on and asked us a question about what he had experienced. If you've got anything like that, give us a bell and we'll do our best to try and give you some reasons that possibly for it.
Because at the end of the day, it's your show as well. So don't forget, and if you would like to be on the show, then email us at admin@ktpf.co.uk. We're always open to discuss any specific areas of this genre, including ghosts, monsters, psychic phenomena, or other supernatural and unexplained mysteries. So get involved. That's the get involved. So we hope you enjoyed tonight's show, and we look forward to having your company next week. That's Sunday at 8 p.m. on www.ktpf.co.uk. Thanks for listening to the KTPF Community Talk Show, recommended by Phenomena Magazine, the UK's leading online publication, and sponsored by
Craigenhouse Castle, South Wales, one of the most haunted castles in Wales. For more information on ghastly and ghostly events, including Fright Nights, all-night investigations, and hen parties, visit www.mosthauntedcastle.com.
And so until next time, remember, and Andy, you can join in with us.
Keep the paranormal friendly.
Good night and God
bless. Good night, guys.
This is where it's at.
To see in the night, to measure the spike, to see how cold it's been. I buy my kit so I won't forget the ghosties that I have seen. The Paranormal Intelligence Gathering Services Ghost Store. So visit www.the-pigs.co.uk/ghost store.